What do you want, Doug? I'll bring you whatever you want.
Oh, my God, the fries.
Oh, yeah, they got like an Egg McMuffin deal.
You would.
I think that's another industry.
Well, something like that.
Anyway, that's all. I appreciate the answer. I don't get it why you bleep out on a podcast, but I understand your caution. So that's all I got. I love the show. You guys make my day every day.
Thank you, Ken.
Keep it up.
Wow, what a wonderful call.
Happy eating.
I thought it was Biff for a minute there.
And I
His
understand.
voice kinda sounded like Biff.
I understand why they think it doesn't make sense, but like, we're not necessarily established here at Hubbard. We're on their HD2 side.
Right. If they needed a reason to fire us, that would have been one.
Correct. You don't give them any ammo.
No.
So I just wanted to...
I don't think they would have, but you and I talked about it and said, we can say the F-bomb and things like that. But when it's in a sexual term and those two words were used...
It got so hot and so vile.
Just bleep them. It's no big deal. They can kind of guess what she said.
Big fan of Ken, though. Up front about it. I'm in a drive-thru at Checkers. This guy doesn't hide behind Ledoux or... I don't know.
Hey, just get a burger.
Guys, I feel like this Hoosier fat getting Checkers before 8 a.m. is dirtier than anything Maitland said. That's from Colorless Spicy Wiener.
Can you imagine all that greasy burger you'd be eating at 7:50 in the morning?
If that's how you start your day, is it you're just giving up, right?
I think so, yeah.
Like there's no coming back
The
from
guy
that.
who wants to hear the unedited dirty talk is a walrus in a drive-thru. It's from the Crestwood Coyote.
That's what he wanted. He's upset that he didn't get to use it.
Do you think he was going to pleasure himself?
Well, it's the kind of conversation that you would use for that.
All right, well.
Yeah, I love the JOI.
Nurse?
What in the world's that mean?
Look it up.
Don't tell me what to look up. This Checkers must have some kind
Just
of breakfast
Google
menu.
JOI. It'll come up.
I don't want to.
Well, then I'm not going to tell you what it means.
I got to be honest here. I'm looking...
You don't know
the
either?
Checkers menu?
They're all closed.
Oh.
They don't open till 10.
Oh, I thought you didn't know what JOI meant.
No, I'm not looking at that at Hubbard.
Doug, Ken might have been a fibbing.
Maybe he was at McDonald's and just didn't want to say it.
Maybe that's the one in Fort Lauderdale I'm trying to get a job at.
But they're all called rallies, so maybe he's at a Checkers.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, but it's the same restaurant, but in different regions.
A
They're
rally's
different
open
names.
this hour?
Ken from Checkers had to call in to hold someone accountable for his blue balls. He's an all-timer with that first-time call. That's from Big Ten Talty.
Ken from Checkers is such a good name.
Well, Plowsy and I enjoyed it because I said, I'm going to be using this, and Plowsy said, can I give you a credit card? So we were both impressed with her dirty talk.
Okay, cool down, Ken.
Rosalitas know that a fun happy hour and scenic patio go together like fresh guac and chips. So take advantage of their covered patio this fall and winter at their DePere location and enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Their sparkling margarita is made with Chambord raspberry liqueur and topped with a bottle of rosé Prosecco. They also have a variety of delicious margarita flavors, including mango, pomegranate, and blood orange, all made with top-shelf tequila and Cointreau. With phenomenal service, great margaritas, and a breathtaking atmosphere, there's always a reason to come to Rosalitas.
Urban Dictionary defines thirsty as purposely, knowingly, and recklessly attempting to gain fame to boost self-esteem. So, are you thirsty? Well, TMA has you covered. Become a part of the 2023 TMA Listener of the Month Club. You nominate yourself for a monthly award, and if you win, you get recognition and stuff to help you satisfy that insatiable thirst. We're talking January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, etc. Go to TMASTL.com or the TMA app. Give us your name, a photo, and other pertinent information. Tell us why you deserve to be TMA Listener of the Month. And if you don't want to use your real name or photo, we don't really care. The TMA Listener of the Month. Get recognized just for being you, or fake you, or whatever. Quenched by Milagro Tequila. Welcome to the brighter side of tequila with Milagro in the morning after on KPNT HD2.
You've heard us talking about Mark Hanna from Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Mark and his team provide a personalized, holistic approach discussing cash flow, liquidity, debt, investments, insurance, taxes, and they pull it all together into a strategy that fits for each individual client. Start the new year off with a judgment-free conversation with Mark Hanna. Visit evergreenstl.com to learn more. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC, a broker-dealer. Equitable Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Evergreen Wealth Strategies is not a registered investment advisor and is not owned or operated by Equitable Advisors or Equitable Network.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day. Rise and shine, St. Louis. It's the Brown and Crouppen Morning After on KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. At the Morning After STL on YouTube and on TMASTL.com with Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Iggy Strode, the Plowboy, and Action Jackson.
7:07 in St. Louis. You are listening to the Morning After, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. Doug, welcome.
Well, thank you very much.
20 years of TMA and every single show. I think we'll do 264 shows this year is what you wanted to do? What?
That seems like a lot.
We will pay homage to 20 years of TMA with wonderful guests, including Bob Hope.
Really?
Hey, Joe Buck coming in studio at
And
8:30.
Gabe.
Gina Lollobrigida, will she be on?
Gabe.
Gabe, okay.
All the greats will be dropping by because ours is the type of presentation in which friends feel free to drop by at
any time. Absolutely.
Correct. So come on by. The water is warm.
20 years, huh?
Yeah, 20 years.
2024.
July 2024, July 2004, January 2024, and what a 20th year celebration we will have throughout the course of the year. 264 shows, all with magical moments celebrated.
You know, in 2 months, I celebrate my 10-year.
Really?
There you go.
Anniversary.
See, I was just in grade school when you guys started.
That's correct. I remember that. You were at St. Kitty's?
St. Kitty's. I don't really remember a lot of the early shows.
I was a freshman in high school.
Well, they were very good. They were very good. I sound like I did heaps of cocaine before every show is what the 2004 version sounded like. You're welcome to get involved because I'm sure you're not happy about something this morning, and you can express it by texting in 314-881-TMA5. Call in 636-9004. TMA and email in for our design, air, heating, and cooling email today, the morning after, at InsideSTL.com. I don't even know where to begin on the lead.
Well, 10 days.
The lead is Plowsy's engagement.
That's what I think it is.
I thought it was the Cotton Bowl. I still thought.
It's your engagement.
I appreciate the
Cotton Bowls come and go, but this is one of only 3 or 4 engagements that you'll ever have.
That's
nice, Doug. You've been sitting on that line for days.
That's the show prep meeting, paying monster dividends. Plowhawk, congratulations to you.
I appreciate it.
And Madison. December 23rd was the day.
Yep.
Tell the audience what transpired.
Okay, so this has been set up for about a month and a half. So it was about mid-November was when I kind of got the idea.
Is that right?
And so I contacted the ring designer that she liked from the Chicago area. Because we've, being in a relationship for 7 years, you tend to talk about these marriage things, what she likes, kind of proposal idea.
And a guy like you has got designers all over the country.
I do not. I have no clue about this.
Neil Lane.
And I'm glad I got the pointers when I did, throughout our relationship.
Neil Lane is the guy who gets the rings for the Bachelor.
Correct.
I've never heard of that.
I think he's had some work done, but at this point, I think everybody has. Everybody's face looks like it's melting.
I have. Look at these tufts.
They look even better.
You look like
you got elevation on your tufts now. In 2024, you have elevation on your tufts.
Oh, sorry, Plowsy.
It's almost like you can set an egg on those tufts.
It comes in harder than it did before.
Ooh, so you called Chicago and said, Salvador, it's that time. Let's talk.
So I contacted Lindsay is her name. I'm not going to give her last name. I don't know if she wants the pub or not. I guess Lindsay Lewis. She is a designer, so she probably wants it.
LL.
Yeah.
So I've been corresponding with her, seeing the timelines. I knew when I wanted to ask her because her sister and brother-in-law would be in town from D.C. on the 22nd, so I wanted to do it. I didn't want to overstep Christmas and make it all about the engagement, and all the gifts that I bought were kind of secondary. I want to make sure she had a separate, enjoyable holiday.
Well, sure.
So I set this up, and Madison's parents were more than happy to do it at their place in Warson Woods.
Did you ask the father for his permission?
Of course I did.
You did.
So I went over there a couple weeks prior to it and asked him, and they were more than happy. They were, ecstatic about the whole thing. So we already had these dinner plans with the family on the 23rd, which made it even better as, it's easier to surprise her when it's not just a random thing we're doing out of the ordinary to kind of get her, get her senses up. So I take her there until we're going to pick up, quote unquote, her family, and we're going to go out to eat. So my family is there, her friends are there, her best friend and husband set up this whole big thing.
Oh, did they?
Because they stalked Madison's Pinterest board of, proposal ideas, which I thought was a great idea. So a lot of credit goes to them for the decoration and the decor there. But yeah, Madison was shocked, started crying, had the ring that she wanted. She didn't know.
She didn't see it coming.
Didn't have any idea. That was
Really?
the whole point. I didn't really.
How long had you been together?
7 years next month.
7 years, and she was stunned by a marriage proposal.
Probably at the time that I did. She didn't really expect it to be that year. I guess waiting 7 years, you never know when it's going to happen at that point. Is it at the point of no return? Are we now just,
Right.
Partners?
Right.
But yeah, so she was excited about it, was able to...
So was everybody around when you did it?
Yeah, so here's the thing, though. My original idea with them to hide... it's a lavish estate, so they were going to hide in the side,
Yeah, I didn't
the
mind
side dining area, so where the entrance was, you wouldn't be able to see them. I already had them park, up the block, so the cars weren't around.
Yeah.
I had that all taken care of. So I was talking to Jeff and Diane, Madison's parents, like an hour before, how I wanted it planned. I wanted them all in the dining room, so I could, give a nice little talk to Madison in front of like the, picture collage and whatnot.
Oh, well, from the Pinterest board.
And then I would have them, then call them in and have the friends and family around as I asked her. That was kind of the plan. I thought that was a good plan.
Yes.
So I was like, hey, I'm 10 minutes out. Hey, I'm 5 minutes out. Hey, I'm on Manchester. Kind of like that was the communication, giving them 5-minute updates. And so I expected to walk in with nobody there. And I walked in and Madison's parents and her sister and husband are just standing in the kitchen.
They didn't pay attention to your plan.
I don't know. I never talked to them about it, and I didn't care. The only thing I wanted was a surprise factor. You just got to deal with, hiccups and things that happen, but I just wanted to make sure that she didn't know what was happening. That was the only thing. So, yeah, they were there, but it made sense because we were picking them up for dinner, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Okay.
It just threw me off. So then the friends came out, and it was
Now, some of these other people who parked up the street, did
Champagne.
any of their cars get towed?
No, it's worse in Woods, and that's surprising. I'm surprised they didn't get broken into. So, as Mr. Luke was saying, kind of a shady area.
Okay.
Mr. Lick says Warson Woods.
Better dump yourself, buddy.
I don't say that, but Licks does.
When you ask your father for permission, did he ever ask you if you had plans to make something of yourself?
I was actually thinking that question was like, okay, so how long is radio going? So this like little thing you're doing, quote
Can you
unquote.
support her someday?
No, like I said, I know their parents just as much as I know my parents. It seems like we have a good connection. We're close together. In terms of distance wise, we see each other a bunch. I'm very family oriented, so I know I know them very well. So if they had an inkling of that, they'd be very upfront and honest.
You think anybody's ever asked the father for permission? He said no.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Really? And you get married anyway?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's happened as well.
Yeah, it'd be a tough battle. It's an uphill climb there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of parents who disapprove of the man their daughter's chosen.
Then you don't ask because you know the father hates you, so why even ask?
Yeah, and then I proceeded to celebrate there, and then we had dinner plans, and I got lit up right away because I don't drink too much, so I had 4 glasses of champagne with her friends and family, and then we went to a restaurant, and I almost had a whole bottle of wine, so I knocked my wine over at the end.
What restaurant did you go to, boy?
Bartolino's, Madison's favorite.
Is that in Sunset Hills or is that in
I
Warson
don't know
Woods?
direction-wise exactly where it's located.
There's a Hampton
I'm sorry.
location, there's a Lindbergh
It's on
location. Am I
Lindbergh.
right on that?
It's
My
the
nurse?
Lindbergh location.
Yeah, right on Hampton where the KSP studios used to be.
See, I went the Lindbergh one.
You went to South County.
They call it Lindbergh South.
Bartolino
South.
It's
thank you.
nice. It's a nice place.
Love that place. And that Madison loved the risotto there, so surprised her with that as well. It was glorious. And enjoying that 10 days with her, not having to go back to work. Thank you, Hubbard, for that opportunity to have that nice break. Great. Couldn't have
Last
gone
time I was
better.
in Bartolino South, I saw former Big Red tight end Jackie Smith. That's how he always
Is that a
says it.
football hangout?
I'm Jackie Smith. And I saw him in there, which was exciting for me because he was one of my boyhood heroes.
Yeah, I love
Was
that
he
place.
there when you were there?
He was not. I don't know if I would notice him or pick him out of a crowd if you paid me $1 million too. So.
Well, he's probably close to 80, and he looks like he could still play in the NFL.
Then no, he was not there.
The best part of all of this story is where it took place. Warson Woods. I approved the engagement request at the last Warson Woods meeting. Doug, that's from the Warson Woods Wacko. He had to approve the engagement?
Yeah,
You need a permit, I suppose.
Yeah, obviously Milton was there at the county meeting. He lives in the area, so I had to make sure all the deacons of
Deacons of Warson Woods.
Deacons of Warson Woods
were able to accept that little party and gathering could happen. So
it's an exclusive fraternity, I'm sure.
It's almost like the Masons.
Now, will you move into Warson Woods now that you've married into this family?
I don't think that's how it works. We're still going to stay at our apartment.
You are.
The one thing I didn't do was like get the dogs involved, but that's a hassle, and that would have been red flags all day. Hey, we're going to dinner, but we're going to shove 3 dogs in the back.
What would the dogs have done to add to the party?
I'm sure she would have wanted to incorporate him somehow, but that was something I didn't.
There'll be ring bearers.
They'll be involved.
There'll be ushers.
They won't be ushers. I need humans for that.
Well, that's exciting news.
It was great, yeah.
Have you set a date yet?
Yeah, we're doing it in 2025. I just don't know exactly.
Wow.
Because we have venues that we want to do for the spring and also for the winter. So
a whole year of engagement.
Oh, yeah. A little bit longer than that, probably, too.
You should have said do the Kevin Miller plan. We're getting married in 2038.
Well, she's like absolutely killing in her career. Like, doing unbelievably well. And I'd hate to hinder that by, hey, plan this. And also, I want it to be done in 6 months. So we're going to take our time with it. And I think that, it's not good for every situation, but I think for us, it's perfect. We've dated for 7 years. We're in no hurry.
Do you think you'll be Mr. Mom once the kids roll around?
I was always, that goal with that stay-at-home dad. It almost, in my vision, it was like a sugar daddy situation. Obviously, there'd be, taking care of the house and the kids.
Through, you got a sugar mama.
Nonetheless, I'm open to anything.
Okay.
That'd be a great job if it was like your kids are like 12 and your wife got a great job. You're just going to stay home. Great. Get up in the morning, get them off to school. You got all day to do nothing.
Yeah. I bet summer is a little bit tougher for the stay-at-home parent.
Yeah. Well, that was exciting news. You had a good holiday.
Thank you. I appreciate you giving me the grand stage to talk
I think it's the lead, Doug.
Yeah, because she deserves it.
Without a doubt.
So I'm very happy, all the love. It was hard to thank everybody individually. There was so much. So, I was hoping to do it here, thank everybody for the comments. It was fantastic.
People are kind and supportive, Doug. I guess it's a whole new year. Is this going to be a whole new text inbox?
Let's hope.
Definitely not.
Let's see what we got here. Gary Pinkel's cell phone is very happy for you. Let's see what we got. Congrats, Plowsy. Cool to see how much thought you put into this. Madison's a lucky gal. This wedding is going to be off the chains. How many bridesmaids is Iggy going to try to hook up with? That's from Gary Pinkel's cell phone etiquette.
I don't have a lot of friends. So we did the bridesmaid count, and I'm like, oh, man.
Like how many are there going to be?
Yeah, what are you going to have there, you think?
I think 6 for sure, 7 more than likely.
Mace Dog, and you've got...
Reefer,
yeah, sure.
I guess we can do it.
What about Matty Dreads?
Matty Dreads will be there, of course.
Dog, that's huge.
Of course, Matty Dreads. Rick and I are going to be there.
Who's he bringing?
4.
Oh, I don't know. I told him he could have +1.
Maybe we'll bring Katie Cush.
Or Maitland.
Maitland Ward, Doug.
Now, to make sure the wedding goes off smoothly, will you have to grease the palms of the deacons of Warson Woods?
Since the wedding isn't taking place, I don't think you have to grease anybody's palms if you're just wedding a daughter of a member of the community.
So you're not going to get married there at St. Genevieve du Bois in Warson Woods?
It's a very nice, man.
It is a nice place.
Nice. But no.
KG in O-Town is not happy with... He's not here. Jackson, you're back there, right?
What up?
Oh, don't give us that smart aleck what up.
He's still on a high from Dallas.
Oh, it's good to be back, baby.
You went to Dallas?
No, sir.
Oh, I thought you went.
No, what happened in Dallas?
Enough of this Hallmark movie BS. Talk Cotton Bowl. That's from KG in O-Town. So he is not happy with what we thought was the obvious lead here in the Munganass St. Louis Acura, Munganass Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, 7 o'clock hour. Doug, Jamie Burkhardt, Clayton Patterson, Peter Munganass, and the secret phone number that gets you right to him, 314-252-0029, or go online at stlouisacura.com, altontoyota.com. I don't know how many years they've been sponsoring this program. I want to say we're approaching 5.
Yeah.
And we are thrilled to have the partnership now into what we're going to call fifth year. Hell, I don't know. Of our relationship with Munganess St. Louis Acura and Munganess Burkhardt Alton Toyota, also the presenting sponsor of Balloon Party and official automotive provider of the Tim McKernan Show podcast. Sponsor the 7 o'clock hour on TMA. StLouisAcura.com, AltonToyota.com. Looking for a new car or a pre-owned car? Go to Munganess St. Louis Acura or Munganess Burkhardt Alton Toyota. StLouisAcura.com and AltonToyota.com. Iggy has to be a groomsman. That's from Tracy Woodson.
Mm-hmm. Would you be up for that, Iggy?
I probably couldn't afford the tux.
Oh,
so
jeez.
You'd rat these bitches.
That's a tough conversation to have.
Congrats, Plowsy. Loving this news. I wouldn't recommend following in the footsteps of Worson Woods Wacko, though, or you'll be servicing your wife's boyfriend in no time.
Oh.
To Mr. Lick.
Gosh.
Is that the arrangement?
I don't think it is.
You're confusing Wacko with recovering alcoholic.
I'm going to say,
I don't
Wacko
think he
seems
services boys, does he?
He's done everything, I think.
I don't think anything.
Plowsy, now that we've covered the lovey-dovey stuff, can we cut to the chase and hear about the coitus later that night? Have to imagine you were letting that hog eat after 4 glasses of champagne.
Stop it.
That's from 2022. Was he Rookie of the Year or Texter of the Year? Little Tommy Trivets.
I don't know which.
He's off to a strong start for 2024. Right now, the front runner for Listener of the Year. Milagro
Wow,
Tequila.
early.
Well, Plowsy got plastered. He
20
knocked over the
minutes.
wine. He wasn't prepared for anything.
What's funny was, like, I walked off to Champaign because Bartolino's South, have you ever been to that location? If you go
Yes.
the time we did, it was packed to the gills.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like I parked like 4 miles away.
Really?
So I got a good walk. Yeah, 'cause even that back parking lot was full. It was a full deal.
You could have parked at St. Simon's.
I don't know what that is. It was nighttime. I don't really know the area.
Well, maybe you were parked there and just didn't know it.
You just could have called Bart and said, look, I got a wedding party coming. Give me some spots.
Bart.
That-
I wonder if Jackie Smith got a parking spot.
I should always refer back to Jackie Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Could have parked out.
God, he was good. Holy smokes. The practically perfect tight end. What Howard Cosell called him.
Could have parked down at Chris's Pancake and Dining. I think that's still there.
My wife just heard the news about Plowboy and is utterly confused about how Worson Woods ties in. The look on her face right now is priceless. That's from the Worson Woods Wacko.
You don't know about the Deacons?
Yeah. There's a select group of deacons who control the Worson Woods area.
Is that?
It's beyond HOA.
It's their territory.
It's the Freemasons of that community.
Like Illuminatas?
Stephen Wildwood won the Listener of the Year presented by Milagro Tequila in 2023. Looks like he'd like to go repeat. He says, congrats, boy. I'll message you my address. That's from Stephen Wildwood.
Guess he wants an invite.
I guess he's inviting himself. But he was on the guest list. We'd have done like a rough sketch of one.
How many guests are you looking at?
Man. See, I'm very much in the art of going to Colorado and taking about 40 people, 30 people, you know, just the wedding party, friends and family.
Oh, sure.
But since Madison's sister got married in D.C. over COVID, Madison's immediate family couldn't, do their thing, couldn't attend. So we did like a rough one of about 165. The plus ones will get you.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we have tons of friends, and my family is really small. But the plus ones, which you want people to have their significant other or whatnot. So that was always, it grew pretty quickly with
You have to feed these people.
I thought 120, if I'm having a big wedding, seems to be about the honey hole.
Yeah. What kind of gifts do you want?
Cash over, baby. Maybe a knife set. We just got a
Cash
crock
or knives?
pot.
Take your pick, Doug.
No. I don't know what we could possibly need. We don't have like our own home, so we don't really have that, need for any house appliance because we already have
It used to be
that.
if you filled up with mobile, you could get some cash off on a set of steak knives. Is that the kind of thing you're looking for?
Oh, yeah. Anything I can get my hands on.
Are the fan page Walry going to get upset when they're not invited? That's from Zach's wife, Gummy.
See, that's the thing, too, is we always thought about, like, well, if you add this person, we should add this person. And I guess the saying is if you don't invite this person to dinner on a Tuesday, then you shouldn't invite them to your wedding, I guess is like the saying we looked at.
Or would you think that they would invite you to theirs?
Yeah, I think that, yeah. But I love so many people. We have so many, the fan base here, Doug, feels like a family.
Oh, it does?
Hey, Mrs. Wacko, if you're still listening, I can help you get out of that Manchester-adjacent neighborhood. My wife will be happy to take you in as a friend and show you what it's like to drive up and down Warson and Clayton instead of Manchester and Icky Rock Hill Road.
Oh.
Put a charcuterie board on your front doorstep, and that'll be a signal for us to know which house you are in. That's from Mr. Licks, who's apparently trying to save the Warson Woods Wacko's wife from living in Warson Woods.
I don't want to invite Licks because there could be a lot of Warson Woodians.
Oh, there probably will be, sure.
A couple deacons.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Doug, so that's going to be a rescue scene for 2024.
Well, something to keep an eye on for sure. So you're thinking like June of 25?
No, we ain't doing summer.
We ain't doing summer.
What are you thinking, bro? What season?
We either want spring or we want late fall, winter.
Winter.
The thing is, the venues are so expensive and so booked in the summer, and the pictures you're glistening like a hog.
Like a hog?
Like a hog,
That's
like
a
on
wonderful
a
thing
spigot,
to
you
tell
know?
your
Like
bride.
I don't want to be like dripping sweat or wiping sweat off my brow for a picture and have it glistening
No bride wants to be told she's glistening like a hog.
on a spigot. Nonetheless, I think we kind of, I don't know. We have a lot of options that we want to do.
I went to an
I'm kinda
outdoor
rolling
wedding
with
in
it.
Dallas a couple years ago for my niece, and it was in July. I think it was 110
I
degrees.
can't do that. Nobody's having fun, and people drink more, which causes a little bit more issues at a wedding. If you're, one or two people are getting absolutely plastered, hammered, that could be a problem.
Have you set the location for the reception, Plowhawk?
We haven't really thought about. I mean, we did a little bit think about, do we want to go nice and fancy? Do we kind of go
Well, you
feedback?
just got an offer here. So this is up to you. You can handle it off air. We will have the reception at Algonquin Plowboy.
Oh.
We just hired Mr. Licks in KG Town to spit shine the urinals. So, I guess they're excited about some new employees and they want to utilize their services. And so the Warson Woods Wacko says you can utilize Algonquin.
That's a fantastic one because that is a beautiful little hall and area that they have there.
I like that. It's a hall. It's like a
Nice
American
hall.
Legion. You want to go up to the VFW.
Oh, I was at a wedding there once. It's beautiful.
Algonquin, yeah, I've never been to like any sort of, just kind of hanging out, having drinks
It's not
there
really
and golfing.
a hall.
Dog, I
think
thought
of
it
a
would sound.
VFW hall.
At the time, I thought it would sound sophisticated, but also I'm not sophisticated. So whatever I think might be, probably isn't. But it's beautiful there. So that would be fantastic.
It's a hell of an offer.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
Is he going to pay for it too?
I imagine he would. I mean, if you invite somebody to utilize your hall, you pay
I'd say
for
yes to
it.
that right now.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, obviously, I can't just say yes right now. Madison is a big part of this.
Well, sure
Who pays for this wedding? Her parents or yours?
Her parents, my parents, I guess, pay for the reception dinner, but we are not really traditionalists. I don't want Jeff forking over 30, 40 grand. So we're going to try to do as much as we can in terms of for the glassware. We're gonna try to thrift and do things on our own as much as we possibly can.
Used to be the bride's parents paid for it all, but now it's so expensive.
That's what I'm saying. I
Expensive.
wouldn't justify having that on his plate.
Yeah.
Like that's not. And I want good food at my wedding as well. So
Do
less
you?
people, the better the food, right? Isn't that kind of how
I
it is?
bet you could pick out some good food for a wedding.
We're not gonna have a cake either, but we're gonna keep that one a little secret.
Oh,
Keep that one just
You
a
just
little
kinda-
nugget for the guests.
Just kind of outed it. We're not going to have a cake, but I'm going to keep that a secret.
But I mean, but
He's
no,
picking
we're not
up
gonna.
reeds
That
early.
is a good point. I didn't phrase it correctly, but
You're going to have
the dessert
snacks.
will be the dessert will be a secret, and it will not be a cake.
Lot of candy,
giant honey
probably.
buns.
We can't go too ridiculously Hoosier. Although have you ever heard of a dollar dance?
No.
I asked her about that. Tim,
Oh,
have you
yeah,
ever-
where you pay $1 to
This
dance
is
with
at
the bride.
every wedding I went to in my
Out
hometown.
of PTs?
Yeah, at the titty bar.
Yeah.
No.
No, this is so like, and I've never seen them in St. Louis, so that's why I asked Madison. The weddings have been so at like these little small Hoosier weddings, like, and they are. I mean, I love it. God bless them, but they are. But like, the bride will dance with all the guys at the wedding for like a minute or 30 seconds. So there'll be a line of guys for the bride and a line of girls for the groom, and there's a tip jar on each side of the bride and groom.
Right.
And so you can dip $1, $5, $20, And that's called the dollar dance.
You'd think with inflation it would be up to like $10.
You really do need to change that.
Are dudes that
But
lonely?
I haven't seen one in years, and I'm wondering if that was a thing. She goes, "We are not."
I suppose they
doing
do that kind of thing at the Algonquin Hall all the time.
Yeah, that hall.
I didn't mean to dismantle Algonquin and turn it into a VFW. I apologize.
Can you
Doug,
tip
they
like
are,
20 or
very
25 and get boob?
They're very active in the YouTube chat this morning. I think they've been waiting for us. We haven't done a live show in I don't know how long.
So they're angry.
Carl Pelker's in there. Howdy ho, good neighbors. Jake Reynolds, hi Tim, welcome back, boys. Don Peepee says it feels like it's been forever. Jake Reynolds says Plowsy killed it with the skeleton during the break. Thanks, Plowsy. Plow, did you implement new segments for the skeleton specific for the break?
I got to thank the listeners, both on the fan page, personalized messages on Facebook, and some people have my number, which is weird, but they texted me as well. They were big fans of the skeleton.
What changed with the skeleton?
I think it's just not hearing replay shows, especially with this long of a break that we have. Typically, I would pepper in old shows from weeks prior. Now, just doing best ofs, I think people, especially with the holidays, you're doing long drives, long traveling, get a lot of free time away from the kids. And I think podcasting, that old material I haven't heard in a while, I think people got kind of nostalgic almost, Tim.
Can I tell you something?
Of course.
I was in the car quite a bit over the break.
Nice. I did not expect that, honestly.
What were you doing in the car?
I thought you were nestled in that couch hard.
Well, a lot.
Where were you going?
Well, I went to lunch a couple times with people. I had Christmas stuff going in and out, errands, shopping, things like this. I was in a car quite a bit over the break.
Okay.
And I had it on 105.7 HD2. I got to tell you that Plowsy did kill it.
Nice.
There were segments that I had forgot we even did. I'm in one day, and there's the Big Al call where he's just going off on the blues, and and Plowsy just drop after drop after drop, and he go, "Cut it out, Iggy." I forgot all about that. He's just the drops were killed, and every segment was I don't remember this. God, this is funny. So I want to say great job too.
I appreciate it, and I didn't try to do anything special. There's a lot of segments, and it would take a lot of time to try to personalize each hour. But yeah, I got a lot of comments.
How many segments are in the skeleton now?
So we probably have 450 to 480 in terms of best ofs. Now those range.
What was that again? 480?
About 480 segments.
480 segments.
Those range from Swope's Picks, which are an hour,
Pins.
and those range from Drops of the Weeks, which are 2 minutes. All in between, you got 20, 35-minute, segments. But now we play 24 hours of that, so it kind of eats into, how often you
The
can
inventory.
play each
It
one.
eats into the
Yeah, but we're going to
inventory.
get
inventory.
I'll be loading more inventory in for 2024, so that'll alleviate that. But I was very pleasantly surprised, Doug, with the positive reaction. We don't get much of that here, and it was a blessed holiday season.
You're kind of glowing from this engagement announcement, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think it was
The
more so
listeners
from
are
the
supporting you. You're engaged. Doug, this 2024 is set up to be a Jim Dandy for the
Absolutely.
Plow Hawk.
The year of the plow finger.
I'm excited. Fingers hawk.
Well, maybe you got to call Jeff Lotman while you're on this heater.
Ooh, that.
Yeah, you go to just JEFFLOTTMANN.com and see what's doing as far as inventory. You want to talk about inventory on the skeleton? I'm going to JEFFLOTTMANN.com. And he is a luxury St. Louis real estate agent. And he has the hookup when it comes to St. Louis real estate. Whether you're buying or selling a home, Jeff has been doing it in St. Louis for 22 years. And he has $500 million in sales in the St. Louis area. He's online at JEFFLOTTMANN.com. It's Jeff Lotman with Compass Realty St. Louis, luxury broker, and he is the official real estate agent of The Morning After, which is presented to you by Brown and Crouppen here on youtube.com/TMASTL 1057 HD2. You can stream it at TMASTL.com, and that's where Jackson will give you his plays via Circa. Jackson, were you on a heater during the holiday break?
Wouldn't call it a heater. Wouldn't call it a cooler. Just kind of, breaking even. I was heavy on Bama yesterday. Bama money line. That obviously did not pay, but that made me not bet the Washington-Texas game because I really wanted to bet Texas -4, so it was kind of a blessing in disguise. Either way, you can make all these plays over at the Circa Sports app because the world's largest sports book in Vegas is now in Illinois. The Circa Sports app is sports betting the way it should be with big app bets, high betting limits, tight money line splits, and the best customer service around. You won't talk to a chat bot when you deal with Circa. You'll talk to a real person, the real people that take care of the Circa Resort out there in Las Vegas, and it's now available in Illinois, the Circa Sports app. Visit circasports.com for more details and get ready to start betting like a pro. If you or someone you know have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
There it is, Circa, on board here with TMA for another year. If you are looking to get engaged just like the Plowhawk, how about Glenn Betts, Doug? Glenn Betts Jewelers, right there in Manchester and De Pere. Online at glennbettsjewelers.com. That's GLENNBETZ. Jewelers.com. Located about a mile east of 270 in Manchester.
3 or 4 miles west of Warson Woods.
Ooh.
Just so everyone knows exactly where it is.
Well, if you're coming from that direction. And you'll work with Craig and David Betts, third and fourth generation of the Betts family. And there you are getting to know them, and they are getting to know you. And so it's not like some big retail shop where you're going in and they're just trying to get a sale. They get to know you. They have loyal customers over the years. And I know a lot of TMA listeners have been going in there. It's glennbettsjewelers.com, and they have plenty of parking in that building right off of Manchester. glennbettsjewelers.com. Doug, do you have a jingle for them?
Good, better, best. Never let it rest. Tell your good is better, and your better is Betts.
God, that's
Glenn
so
Betts.
Jackson, Mr. Jackson, what did you get your lady friend for prominent winter holiday? That's from Katessi Chattel.
She's really into Stranger Things, the TV show, so I got this little piece of artwork from Stranger Things.
Just made a mistake and gave too much information right there. That was the most.
Getting dragged.
I mean,
What is Stranger Things?
That's with Millie Bobby Brown, and she was named after the former New Edition Bad Boy.
Okay.
And she is an alien creature? Is that right? Is she an alien creature?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
More of a superhero. Either way, I'm going to stop talking.
Oh,
I think that's a good t-shirt.
Do you feel like you'd like to have that one back with the benefit of hindsight, or did I just call attention to it and then it made it like a bigger deal?
Can both be true?
Yeah, I guess let us see.
So did you order something off Temu and send it to her?
All questions will be funned through Ken Strode before they get to me.
Oh, you're representing. You're representing.
Iggs is my counsel.
No, yeah, just don't talk about it.
There we go.
You know,
I've made the mistake of telling too much about my life. You go the opposite direction. Especially if you like the girl, you don't want too much being obvious.
Especially if you like them. See, I got the best Christmas present I think I've ever received, too.
What did you get?
Now that we're on presents. Madison is taking me to the Packer-Bear game, playoff implications on the line in Green Bay on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
No fooling.
I thought that was great. I haven't been to Lambeau in like 12, 13 years.
You going to fly up Saturday?
I'm not flying anywhere.
You're going to drive Saturday?
Yeah, it's only about 6.5 hours, 7 hours.
How are you getting back?
Driving?
Usually if you drive there, you go ahead and drive back.
The game's Sunday, right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Here we go. I can already sense it, Doug.
No, that's just kind of a... Well, I did it from Chicago, but that's kind of a long...
Oh, no. See, Madison did the great thing and did what I did and bypassed Tommy and went right to KG. No, I'm kidding. She did ask KG if he could fill in before she
So KG in O-Town is in on Monday.
So, sorry, guys, but... So we're going up Saturday morning. So we'll be there mid-Saturday afternoon. Mm-hmm. Probably hit up Milwaukee and then hit up the game. I think the game's at like 3:25 on Sunday.
How cold is it supposed to be?
Only about 25 to 30, which is almost perfect. I've been to the -14 games. They're fun to experience. I ain't about that now.
I smell a vacation shaming coming. That's from the Hillside.
Starting off, it's just one day. The first week of the year isn't great. I get it.
That's such a great present, though, because
But
it's an adventure. It's a memory.
Amen. Couldn't agree with you more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pro experience when it comes to gift giving.
And she's never been there, and she's actually excited about going, which is super cool. She's not just feeling like she's forced to go there. I think she'll enjoy like the atmosphere, the people there, tailgating.
KG No Town says, I appreciate Madison respecting the Hubbard HR hierarchy and coming straight to me. So
You just take a left by Tommy and then go right to KG.
I have to speak with him later today. Also.
KG No Town.
Yeah.
I'll give you my.
He'll let Tommy know the deeds, and then they'll sort it out.
I'll give you my buddy's address for their bar, restaurant, Double D's.
I will
It's a
actually take recommendations.
Huge Packer pregame place right on the water.
You brought that up before, and I looked it up, and it actually is rated really well, and it looks amazing. So I will take that recommendation for sure.
Yeah, I need you to tell Amy I said hi.
Did we talk about this a couple of weeks ago where the house right next door to Lambeau
Like
Stadium
$750,000
was on the market? Looked like a normal house you'd see in the
1,800
suburbs
square
somewhere. Right, like on the parking lot of Lambeau Field.
Airbnb that bitch all year. You'd be perfect.
You think you'd like living there, though?
Probably not, but I think during the 16-week NFL season, 8 weeks at home would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would only be horrible traffic, the 8 games, and I guess the 2 preseason games. That'd be about it, I think.
To look out the Lambeau in your front window, your bay window, Doug.
You better be a fan, or it'd be horrible. You could probably charge some people to park in your driveway.
What if you weren't a fan and you used that house just to be an anti-Packers house?
And then
Never
complain
let
about it. Buy the house and then complain about the crowds at the stadium. It's like buying a house on a golf course. There's a golf ball in my backyard. Couldn't see that coming.
I don't know why people do that.
But they buy one right on the highway. I can hear the noise. No kidding.
Guys, what did Ken gift you guys on the dais for prominent winter holiday, or are presents just reserved for the attractive young females in the office? That's from glove blogger Tom Traven.
Hey, I got 2 bags of clothes that would say otherwise.
Yeah, there you go.
Iggy gave you 2 bags of clothes?
I'm bagged one on air.
What treat you having,
Oh,
bro?
that's right.
It's a chewy granola bar. Man, these Melvilles, they're off-brand. They're
Doug,
dry.
the Panthers, Melville Panthers. Rossetnu Jenkins, you say Rossetnu or Rossetnu?
I thought it was Rossetnu.
They be dry.
You're eating off-brand candy now?
No, it's not candy, it's a granola.
I know you're always going to have candy because you got a lot of Twix up your sleeve.
Awesome. We're going to have a huge year.
That
That
was
just sent
sick.
a message. That sent a message to the other competition on HD2.
I mean, that joke kills at any gathering.
Oh, God, that was nice.
No chance that creeper gave a male a gift. That's from the total package.
What is he talking about?
I think you and your gift giving.
What about my gift giving?
He says that you don't give gifts to male coworkers, only the beautiful young female ones.
Uh-oh.
I'm just saying what he's saying, what he's telling you.
You interpret the text.
I don't know. Maybe Tommy can tell everybody about the bottle of vodka I gave him. How
Oh,
about that?
gosh.
Tommy, come on in.
Wow, what a pretty young thing she is.
Jennings.
Nice one.
Okay. Well,
There you go.
I guess we can get through that.
That's a male.
That's a male.
It's a new segment. It's going to be a new sketch we do. We try to figure it out. Welcome to That's a Male. Get involved on the program. The text line is 314-881-TMA5. You can call in 636-9004-TMA and just participate in the YouTube chat, youtube.com/TMASTL. Even though I know some people are still off, 200 plus are in there just talking it over right now,
Really?
including Monty Kessler. You know Monty Kessler.
Sure.
He was the Buccaneers
Okay.
defensive coordinator when the Rams beat him.
Was that Monty Kiffin?
Nope, Kessler. And he says Dollar Dance is a great tradition. All the GC weddings have them.
GC.
What do you think that? I like to interpret
Glenn Carbon?
Glenn Carbon is all I could come up with.
Granite City.
Yeah, there's another one.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not saying they weren't all in barns, or a lot of people were wearing jeans.
You ever go to a barn
those were
raising?
most of the.
You ever have a barn raising out there in Canada?
I don't think I've done a barn raising ceremony now.
Is that like an Amish thing?
I think it is.
Yeah, they don't do that too much in the farming community. They just
They don't?
outsource.
Okay.
I gotta check the chat now. It sounds fun.
Yeah, it's a hotbed of activity this morning. They were waiting for us, Doug. They missed us.
I don't know.
Been damn near 2 weeks.
Has been.
Crazy.
It's a nice break.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how much I enjoy the time between Christmas and New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
It has become my favorite week of the year. And I don't necessarily do anything, but I think it's not having, like, it's an understanding that, like, you can take a vacation anytime during the year, but you're still kind of on the clock, but everybody's kind of off at the same time. And so it allows you to unplug, de-stress, relax. I absolutely loved it. And I hope everybody else did as well.
The only
my
downside
God,
is you don't really know what day of the week it is.
That's the
great.
best. That's not a
the greatest.
downside, dude. That's the best part of it. The best part was football. There was like, you turn it on at 11 a.m. and like all of a sudden there's a game on. You're like, what day is this? That's the best feeling. Could not have loved being lazier if I wanted to. This
Some of
break
those
was
bowl
awesome.
games that didn't involve the playoffs in Missouri were really exciting.
None of them were exciting, right? Outside of last night.
That was a
those two
good bluff
games.
because initially, for a second, I thought you were being serious.
No.
Hunchback of Von Castle says Missouri guy must be so pissed you are not talking about a pointless bowl game that was unwatchable until the last few minutes. That's from the Hunchback of Von Castle.
Yeah.
I do notice that there is a polarization of some kind on the Cotton Bowl. I don't know how much of it is like Kansas and Illinois fans just trying to poke the beehive of the hypersensitive nerve that is Missouri fan who's, really, 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 really into it, or if it's just an honest observation. Jackson, what is your assessment?
I think people understand the situation.
And what do you mean? What is the situation, and what are they understanding?
Like, the game itself isn't as important as the message it sends going into 2024.
Think like that? The game itself isn't important.
Yeah,
the message
I guess.
it sends. I think there's something to
I
that.
guess. I didn't get the sense that Ohio State was just heartbroken that they didn't win. But it would have been a bummer for Mizzou to end the season on a loss. I think.
agree. But it doesn't take much to upset the Mizzou fans. I mean, it's... I tweeted, and it was...
Uh-oh.
No, it wasn't anything bad. It's just, after the game, I
I gotta
said...
go see what it's doing.
After the game, I said...
Say.
I said, in the scheme of things, it really doesn't mean anything.
Oh.
But don't you give the MVP to Cody Schrader, put a ribbon on a fairy tale season? And some guy goes, got to be negative even in a win. Well, it was negative. I just thought he should have got the MVP. It'd have been nice if he'd have ended his career in this year with the MVP. I mean,
He had like 128 yards, didn't he?
yeah.
That was at Bob Robe 540287773.
Block him!
That guy's an insider.
God, how many
That's
Bobs
the
were
next
there?
Talty.
Block him!
No, I mean, I just said, what was negative about it? I just thought it'd been nice if he won it, but I wasn't trashing the program.
No.
But
Now, what
Hi,
about
Paul.
your
I want you to start seeing Coach Eli Drinkwitz as a young Coach Nick Saban.
Why did you say Coach Nick Saban?
What about the tweet that I see under that one, which was M-I-Z and then like about 20 Z's,
Well, that's
conveying
because
that you were
the game was
that you
boring
were
as
bored
hell.
by the team.
The game was boring as hell.
Yeah, it kind of was until the fourth quarter. Mizzou got the offense
I
going. a
I
little bit.
tweeted that at the halftime, so.
See, two things can be true. It can be a terrible game, and Missouri deserves every credit. They beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. You cannot change that. Ohio State with McCord and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Fleming would have scored probably 21 more points. So to say, just because Rakestraw and Hopper were out, they could have scored 21 more points. I don't get how Missouri would have been competitive with a full Ohio State lineup, just by how they played. But nonetheless, they beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, and that should be celebrated. I think I'm 100% with Jackson. I think you just take that as pure momentum for recruiting and for the team that's going to be on your roster next year. I think that's the motivation.
Well, it was a good party. The place was packed.
It looked
wasn't it?
packed as hell with
Thousands of
Missouri fans.
Mizzou people made the trip down there. Everybody had a great time. That's all it's really
Yeah,
about.
my understanding was about 3 out of 4 people in the building were pulling for Missouri.
Yeah.
Ohio State, as you might imagine, it wasn't a big deal for Ohio State, but for Missouri fans, the chance to go to Cotton Bowl and play a blue blood program. And Missouri has a huge alumni presence in Dallas as well, so packed the building.
Isn't it nice just to have a team that's relevant again? That's
First
what's
time in a
fun.
decade.
Yeah.
People love beating the blue blood as well. Anytime you can If I don't know if that game's against, I don't know, pick a different school that isn't even near Ohio State in prestige level. I don't think people are as fired up, but because it's Ohio State, it gets people going.
Mm-hmm. So where will Mizzou end up? 7 or 8?
They will be 7 or 8, yes. Yeah. It depends on if they pass Florida State. My view on the Missouri game, and I said this before the game, and then that upset some people in our chat, but I didn't see it until afterwards, that all I had been doing is talking about Missouri getting into a New Year's Six, and now I'm not, and I don't recall, I don't know, I just, that's not what I say. I talk about championships, and if anything, Plowboy, I recall you being surprised when Doug and I said we wouldn't be as enthused about the Tennessee, Florida, Arkansas, and bowl game if Missouri were to lose against Georgia, and you were surprised by that. So for me, my premise on bowls goes back a couple of decades. I realize right now it's a super hot topic, most likely because of the Florida State-Georgia thing, but I think that was even going on before that. But either way, bowl, people are asking who I would bet, and I'm just like, I can't tell you because I don't know who's going to play, and even if you do have players playing, you don't know how much they're going to play, and then level of motivation is a real thing. That's how you gauge if you can handicap it in any capacity betting bowl games. You know that Alabama, Michigan, Washington, and Texas are motivated, but the other ones, where are they? So it became a thing, and I think for some Missouri fans, a real hypersensitive topic, but not for all Missouri fans, whether that Ohio State wasn't, fully motivated or had opt-outs or playing their third-string quarterback because Devin Brown got hurt in the second quarter. But either way, taking that out of the equation, the analogy I made, which will likely upset some people, but it's not intended to. It's just how I personally feel, and I'm not saying others should feel this way or do feel this way, and I recognize I'm in the minority. I view it as Christmas. It's something that comes around every December, and for the majority of the population, it means a hell of a lot. For me, it doesn't, but the people around me are happy because of it, and therefore I am happy. So if Missouri wins, it's wonderful. I don't think a bowl win is a big deal, and I don't think if Missouri would have lost, it would have been a big deal. Now, I would have said the same thing had they lost, but then Illinois, Kansas, whomever fans would have said, oh, you're downplaying it because they lost. I call it how I see it. And I think Missouri could have beaten Ohio State heads up if they would have played both their real team and Missouri's real team in October or November. I would have loved to have seen that. I think Ohio State may be the best team in the country, but guess what? I think Missouri might be the best team in the country. Now, I know it sounds all insane to say that. Now people are saying Georgia might be the best team in the country, but 72 hours ago, people weren't saying that. Point being, in 2023, I think you could make a case for a lot of teams. The team that is now one game away from winning the national championship, Washington, was discounted as a 10-point underdog against Oregon going into the Pac-12 championship. So what winds up actually taking place versus projections, especially in 2023, I think has a wider delta than normal. But to say that what the situation was with Ohio State's roster didn't play a role in the outcome of that game is rather disingenuous. And I would imagine if Missouri didn't have Brady Cook and Luther Burden, that Missouri, and that lost the game, Missouri fans will say, see, you didn't really play our real team. But the thing is, I think Missouri could have beaten Ohio State if they would have been playing the real team. Nonetheless, it doesn't change this. It gets people who do invest in bowl games and may not pay attention to opt-outs and transfer portals super excited for the current state of the program and for next year. And I love that the expectations for the program are now greater. I love that Gabe DeArmond, who at this point I think is the most well-respected and most credible person covering the team, and credit to Gabe for building what he's built with Power Mizzou, saying that Missouri has to go all in 2024 because the goal, not necessarily the expectation is what he wrote, but the goal should absolutely be the playoff next year. And I think that is a wonderful thing. You're not sitting around going, a 7-win season would show progress. The progress was shown whether or not they beat Ohio State. Now you can realistically say the goal is to try to get to the playoff. And so fans will have expectations, right or wrong, but with the schedule that they have and the returning players that they have and the success that they've had in the portal and also through recruiting, that is what I love to see, because Missouri football now is appealing to casual fans as well as hardcore fans, and people are seeing that greatness is really possible in Columbia, Missouri. And that, if that's a byproduct of a bowl win over Ohio State, then God bless America, because that is the direction the program is heading.
Most years, I don't even remember whether they won or lost a bowl game. I know they played
Why
Navy.
do you hate Wake Forest?
They played Navy. I don't remember if they beat Navy. This one I think I'll remember just because it was Ohio State. And as for next year, I think having a quarterback that's got 2 full years of experience under his belt, maybe he eliminates a couple of those mistakes he made this year that, get him past the LSUs and the Georgia.
They're they're making the college football playoff next year. I don't see...
And right there, that statement, and we also just got a text from the Total Package, no playoff is a failed season.
I don't think I wouldn't go that far.
But what I'm saying is this is going to be a unique spot, because for the first time in a real long time, maybe 2008, that team that had all the expectations after the Missouri team that got to number 1 in 2007, there will be these kinds of expectations. And I feel like everything is circled around, okay, they'll probably lose to Alabama and Tuscaloosa, and they got Oklahoma and Columbia on November 9th. But other than that, every game is winnable. And it's like, well, they are winnable, and I would include Alabama and Oklahoma as being winnable, but there are also a number of games that are losable. And the team that is 2023 is not necessarily the team that will be 2024. Could be better, but also the A&M team and the Auburn team and South Carolina, and I think they play Kentucky again. Those teams could be better. So I think that now you have expectations, and I love having expectations. That's great that people get fired up and they want to go to games and they're paying attention to Missouri football. But now you go into that world, whereas this year the over-under was 6.5 wins, and now the talk is, okay, at minimum be a 10-2 team and get into the playoff. I like that, but then you start to get into expectations where if you have an 8-4 season, holy crap, what went wrong?
If they go 8-4, we'll have to fire Drinkwitz.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, he just got an extension, so
yes, he did.
Had another year to it.
But yeah, I don't think it's a bust if you don't. I mean, if you look at certainly Schrader is the most important player on that team, so replacing him is a battle. I know they got a transfer from Georgia State, and I don't know their full roster. That could be step one, but the transfer they've gotten, Williams Nwari would be like a day one player. I mean, you could plug in a lot of dudes right now who are going to play a lot of minutes next year that aren't even on the roster yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I just...
Well, that's true of a lot of teams.
No, you're right, Doug. I'm just saying, this Missouri team, I think the expectation be the top 12, but I don't think it's a pure disappointment if you don't, because you're still going to be pretty young. And you still got to replace Brady Cook after that year, but I think you're looking at the trajectory of long term. The teams should be in it for a while.
If you only lose to Alabama and Oklahoma next year, you're probably still in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're in. You're in at 2 losses for sure.
Probably. But Missouri, I can already, if you want to play it out next year, one of the draws against it will be their non-conference schedule is, I can't imagine there's one that's weaker. But either way, staying in the moment is this. We're having this conversation. And how great is that, and the momentum that the program has. And so from my standpoint, beating Ohio State in a bowl game it does not mean as much to me as it means to, I think, a large number of Missouri fans. And that's fine, but I knew that going in, just like if they had lost, it wouldn't have impacted my mood much as well, because that's how I view bowl games, especially when teams aren't playing their full rosters. But for a large percentage of Missouri fans, it was a huge deal. And that's great. And for a large percentage of casual fans, it was a huge deal. And so that carries the momentum into next year, but it's got people talking Missouri football way more than they were even 5 months ago, much less in the last decade. And that is the thing that is so critical. And I also think, and I know this is really getting into the weeds on it, but they won't have the CBS television deal next year. They will most likely be a top 15 preseason team, possibly top 10. And what that does is it keeps you away from those MFing 11 o'clock starts. And I still believe if they didn't play LSU at 11 o'clock, they beat them. I think they beat LSU more than half the times if they were to play them 10 times. But either way, tip of the cap to LSU, they beat them in that game. But that sets the stage for a bigger deal when you have a 2:30 or a night game, and then people from both St. Louis and Kansas City can make the trip as opposed to those stupid-ass 11 o'clock games. That helps a program. Buzz going into a season helps a program, and they will have that with a Heisman campaign with Luther Burden and with a high preseason ranking. Your thoughts are welcome, 314-881-TMA5. Call in 636-9004-TMA. Ed Herman of Brown and Crouppen is here. Jackson, if you want to bring him in, that would be wonderful, and we can talk it over with the great Ed Herman of Brown and Crouppen. He's a wizard when it comes to baseball.
He sure is.
I wonder if he's a wizard when it comes to college football.
Probably.
I don't know. He's
And
a
maybe
wizard,
uniforms. I couldn't help but notice the Tigers peaked and never played better when they got rid of some of those Shishawali costumes they used to wear. Put the Block M helmet on and looked like Missouri, and all of a sudden, look what happens.
that.
You
Hi,
got
Ed.
a great team. There's that.
Happy
Hello,
New
Ed.
Year.
Happy New Year to all of you.
What's going on?
Congratulations on the engagement.
Yeah, how about this
how about that?
Plowhawk?
Yeah, that's very exciting. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know what you were
Sorry, I'm
talking
chewing.
about, but if you're interested in knowing if you guys are going to be successful long term, I could subject you to the Ed Herman three-prong analysis.
Oh,
of
I
the
would
relationship.
love to hear
that?
what this is.
Are you sure? I don't want to, if you were talking.
No.
I don't want to
Talk
throw
about
off
nothing.
the listeners if they were loving what
this
you were
is ADD
saying.
theater in here.
All right, well, that's fantastic. I'm a big fan of ADD theater. I've been performing it for my whole life.
What's the three? So it's a three-prong questionnaire? What is
it is a three-prong test, and anybody out there is in a relationship, and you're trying to answer the question, is this a relationship that can last the length of time? Or is this something that's maybe just going to be a bridge in my life to another island that will then, continue my journey maybe with somebody else?
That sounds like a song. A bridge to another island.
Bridge to
continue my journey.
This is how I romanticize breakups. I say, this is not a bad relationship. It was just, don't measure it by its longevity. Measure it by the impact it had in your life and the place it took you to. And then you start a new relationship, and that's how you grow. But if you want to know if you found the one that you could actually go the distance with, it's a three-prong test. Prong number one, you have to be physically attracted to each other. People talk about, I'm going to marry my best friend. You're not going to marry your best friend. Your best friend's your buddy that you hang out with, and you're not marrying him. Well, maybe you are, and good for you. But that's fine. Listen, this is a judgment-free zone here.
Sure.
Amen.
No, I
we
judge.
always say we don't kink shame in
I
here.
do, though. I kink shame and I judge.
No. Yeah, well, yes, but you got to do that internally, Doug. You're old enough that you're still allowed to judge.
Yeah, I'm old enough that the filter's gone. I can say anything. I don't care.
Bracket. But for the rest of us, we can still get canceled, and we have to be a little bit non-judgmental.
Oh.
And we have to recognize, let's face it, we don't want to be judged either. So number one, you have to be physically attracted to each other. It's an essential part of the relationship, and it has to be acknowledged. Number two, I believe you need about an 85% overlap in sort of your core values. Doesn't mean you have to have the same religion. Doesn't mean you have to have the same politics. But at your core, you don't want to spend your life having moral debates with your partner. You want to feel like you're kind of seeing the journey together because you might have children together. You don't want to be competing over instilling a value system. You don't have to have a perfect value system. You just need 85% overlap. You could each bring a little something extra to the table. But if you don't have that, you're just going to find yourself consistently in a series of debates and discussions and arguments that are going to take away from the experience of feeling like you have a true partner. And the third thing is you have to have a 75% overlap in your lifestyle preferences. Now, what do I mean by lifestyle preferences? I mean everything from how hot or cold do you like it in the house? Wow. You can't have more than a 3-degree variation between how you like to be, because otherwise you're going to spend your life with one of you too hot all the time or one of you too cold. What kind of television shows do you like to watch? Let's be honest. At the end of the night, you're throwing the TV on. You don't want it to always be incompatible as to what you throw on. What movies do you want to see? What kind of food do you like to eat when you go out? What kind of food do you eat when you like to be in? Do you prefer ordering in or going out? What kind of vacations do you like? You want to spend a week hiking in the mountains or skiing? You want to spend a week vegging on the beach or on a cruise? All of those things add up throughout the course of the life. And if you don't have the overlap, at some point, one of you is going to realize that the other one adapted all of their interests to suit the other. And at that point, they declare their own identity. They get lost, confused. I don't even know what I really want. I don't even know who I really am, because they feel like they got lost in the dominant person's preferences. So right out of the gate, you need to have organically about a 75% overlap. The other 25%, you can explore those things with your friends, with your family, by yourself. You don't need your partner in that. You don't have to they don't have to go to the hockey game with you. They're not into hockey, take a buddy. 75% overlap. So I'm not going to put you on the spot here, but I am. As you hear this, as you do this evaluation in your head, do we have a couple that's going to stand the test of time, or are we going to be right back here in 2 years talking about your new girlfriend?
I do like the honesty and putting me on the spot. I respect it. That's what the show is about. It's 1,000,000% going to work out. We are almost carbon copies of what we like in food and vacation. That's the one thing I know we always agree on. The temperature does vary, but I bought her a heated blanket and also a weighted blanket to try to counter the temperature change in the house.
You like it cold.
You know what? First of all, I love everything you're saying so far, and I'm feeling really good about your situation. You mentioned weighted blanket a minute ago. By sheer coincidence, I tried a weighted blanket last night for the first time ever. I never tried one, and it just arrived.
How'd it do for you?
Well, let me say this. Have you ever had an X-ray taken where they put a lead apron on you?
Sure.
Like, didn't you feel like, I felt like they were X-raying me. I felt like somebody had put this thing on me, had stepped into the other room, and I was waiting for them to tell me to hold my breath. But it never happened. It was an unusual experience.
Mm-hmm.
Took me a while to fall asleep, but I don't think that was connected to the blanket. But once I fell asleep, I was out.
Good.
I was out pretty good. It's a little hard flipping over.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Without really,
I
got to put some oomph into it.
How heavy is the blanket?
It's remarkably heavy.
It's insane. Like if the big full blanket, like those things are heavy. That's like 35 pounds total of it.
I don't know if you're a fan of musical theater, but when the cart falls on the guy in Les Miserables and Valjean has to use his massive strength.
I missed that
to lift it off. It's a big scene. Okay, well, it's heavy. Yeah. It's almost like. When in a movie, when you see like a wall fall on somebody and you have to lift it off of them.
What's in there to make it so heavy?
It feels like lead. I don't know what the hell's in there.
Yeah, it's like beads and lead. I don't know.
You don't want lead all around you.
I don't know if it's actual lead because I would. Yeah, no, you would not want lead all around you. But I don't know. The thing could be filled with rocks for all I know. It was heavy. You know what else I bought? I'm such an idiot. I buy every product, by the way. I'm the easiest mark. And I watch a lot of Shark Tank. I buy every product because I just want to try them out. And I tried 2 of them out this weekend. This is how I spent my holiday, by the way. I don't know how you spent yours. Have you guys ever seen those magic berries, wild berries? You chew them up, and for about a half hour, it changes your taste buds so that everything tastes sweet. So you chew up these berries, and then you test it by biting into a lemon. And instead of tasting like a sour lemon, it tastes like a sweet orange. And I bought this product. I'm like, I got to try this. But the reason I bought it is I thought, maybe it'll allow me to drink black coffee because I always have to put a lot of sweetener and cream in my coffee. So I bought them. And I got to tell you, I was shocked. They worked. I bit into a lemon. I ate that whole thing down like it was an orange.
Really?
And if I'd have been blind taste tested, I would have sworn it was an orange. It was something
magic berries.
It was a wild berry.
Wild
and
berry.
if you look it up, it was a Shark Tank product, but just it was an insane experience. I actually took some video of it because I wanted to be able to look at my own genuine reaction to see if I squinted at all when I bit into it. The lemon squint.
Sure.
Nothing. You would have never known. Really? Unbelievable.
Did one of the sharks invest in this?
Good question. You know what? I believe they might have. I think that might have been one of those Mark and Lori combos. Actually, no. Mark would have never done it because he won't invest in anything that doesn't have scientific data behind it.
Yeah, that's Mr. Wonderful?
No. Well, Mr. Wonderful, that's Kevin O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah, he's like their their Simon Cowell. You know, he's the one that's going to give it to you, honest and pure, but you still like him. You know, that kind of, a big Shark Tank fan.
Hey, I want to go back to the Ed Herman. What are we calling this? The
three-prong test.
Three-prong test.
Prongers.
On point 2, you were talking about values, and you were talking about religion or politics, but you needed to have an 85%.
85%.
Could you give me an example of something you're thinking along those lines?
You know, I think these are the issues of, like, say, how do you discipline your child? You know, some people believe in a very firm hand, not necessarily spanking these days, but a firm approach, and other people are a little bit more, you know, the soft touch. You know, they don't want to. They want to play the long game, which is the importance of confidence and self-esteem, and they don't want to do that psychological damage to their child like was done to them. You know, we all feel a degree of psychological damage from our childhood. You know, I've been in therapy like forever. I've gone through. I have no loyalty to my therapist. You know, I've gone through eight or nine therapists, but I like to hear, you know, I like to hear different takes, and I also like to try out my material with different audiences. You know, you can't just, you know, any one therapist will get bored with you. But what was I saying? So
the second prong of the
So you know,
values.
You know, you go to your therapist, and I remember talking to my therapist about, like, not wanting to mess up my children. You know, like, I don't want to get it wrong, and my therapist was like, all trauma is childhood trauma, and it doesn't matter how you were raised. Everybody who goes into therapy, and almost everybody at some point will or should, you know, everything is done there. There's no way out of there. Without causing, you know, whatever the issue is going to be. It's because it's your formative years. Everything is magnified. Like, everything that's said to you is magnified. Every insult, it hurts so much more. It's ingrained. It forms these core memories. And, you know, your first experience being interested in a girl, if it goes well for you, it sets you up for a lifetime of confidence in relationships. If it doesn't, it sets you up for a lifetime of fear of rejection. So many things happen, and it all happens in our childhood. So it's important, you know, for a couple to basically sort of have a common view on how they're going to handle that. Otherwise, you're going to have a situation where, you know, the kid gets mixed messaging, inconsistency, and becomes a person like myself who grows up to be an overthinker and overanalyzer. You know, I have very little black and white in my life. It's all, I live in the gray. And as a lawyer, you kind of have to, because, you know, you have to be flexible in your thinking. You have to find a way to always see the other side. But it makes it tough, too, because there's comfort in the black and white. There's comfort in boundaries. It's comfort in somebody telling you got the answer right, you got the answer wrong. You know, that's the comfort of mathematics. But the scary part of mathematics is, if you're wrong, you're wrong. There's nothing a teacher can do for you, or that life can do for you, to make up for that.
I feel like I'm on a therapy couch right now.
Oh, let me tell you. You know,
I could sit here and listen to this for hours.
You know, I mean, listen, I don't know. You know, I could be boring the hell out of your listeners, and it's the
audience.
year.
I think the audience wants you to replace all of us.
Well, I mean, you know, it is a new year. I'm not one to make resolutions, you know, because I don't see a lot of significance in the calendar flipping over, other than all of our office and statistics go back to zero.
Minimum wage went up in Missouri by 50 cents. Minimum wage went up by 50 cents.
Oh, well.
So we're all walking in tall cotton in here.
Hey, listen, that's fantastic. Congratulations on the raise, Doug.
Yeah, 50 cents.
That's fantastic. I'm very happy for you.
It's $1.50 a day.
But you know what? But if you actually measure money divided by job pleasure, I would say you guys are probably off the charts. I can't imagine doing anything more fun than this.
Really? This is it? This is the top of the mountain?
This is Everest, baby. This is the summit.
You know what? It is the top of the mountain. You know why? You have a platform. You have an opportunity on a daily basis to talk about your feelings, your thoughts, your interests, you know, and have an audience that actually listens to you and cares about it. I mean, can anybody here tell me what's better than that?
What if we don't have much to offer?
You know what?
It's at Herman, I'm telling you,
then you know what? If you don't have much to offer, you make your listeners feel comfortable, because maybe a lot of them don't feel like they have much to offer.
Oh.
And now they relate to you, because some days you're on and some days you're off, and the same is true for them. So then you become relatable. It's all good, man. It's all to the good.
Do you take Medicare for these therapy sessions?
Yeah.
No, I don't take Medicare. I take a series of drugs. And all legal, just to be clear. But yeah, no, listen, it's very important. You know, you got to find some level of zen, right? Isn't everybody out there? And isn't it when we flip the calendar? I mean, what are you really looking for this year? I mean, at the end of the day, aren't you just looking for a sense of intercom? Whatever that looks like.
Yeah,
You always think you may name the method that you think is going to get you to intercom. You might say, I want to make a lot of money this year. I want to fall in love this year. I want to have a kid this year. I want to lose weight this year. But at the end of the day, you're all looking for the exact same result. It's just that's how you think you're going to get there. But the underlying thing that you're really looking for is just some sense of intercom. I think people value that more than, happiness is a fleeting feeling. Intercom is something that people, I think, would like to have on a regular basis.
I can't get enough of this.
What you just want is peace. You don't want to be arguing, mad.
Isn't that the same,
right? It's the same thing. You're looking for a sense of peace. And you're picking whatever tool you think it is that's going to give that to you.
One of the listeners wants to know where he can get the Ed Herman support pack. Or have you published that yet?
No, but you know what? That's you feel free to put in whatever is on your mind, whatever your thoughts are out there that you want to discuss, and I'll give you my take on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you open up me starting to read the texts that come in, and Doug, that can be a dangerous spot.
Yeah.
One of Doug's favorite longtime listeners is a gentleman by the name of Deke Dotem.
No.
And he writes in, my wife and I overlap in one interest, kissing her father on the lips.
Oh,
so you kind of get an idea of what can come in once you open it up to the listener.
Deke, you know what though, Deke? Let me ask you this. I just want to know, first off, I think as long as there's no tongue involved.
Oh.
I think the lips, there are certain people, I don't know how old he is, but of that generation, that, and it's always shocking. Have you ever gone, I had, there's an aunt within the family that every time she sees me, she kisses me flush on the lips.
Oh.
From day one, from the first time she met me. It wasn't like she developed a fondness for me over time and built her way up. She was a day one lip kisser and has never changed. I've known her obviously a very long time. It's always shocking every time. And it's not that it's a bad thing. It's a wonderful sign of affection, I suppose. But man, I don't know. Do you have anybody in your life like that? Every family I feel like has at least one.
There's a lot of people in the Italian culture that tend to kiss on the cheeks. Men, when they greet each other, kiss on the
I'll
cheeks.
take a cheek kiss.
Yeah.
I'll take a cheek. Especially I'm bearded. If they're willing to go for this bearded cheek, who am I to say no?
Give a sniff test first.
But the lip kiss with a person other than your significant other or something of a sexy romantic nature, even if it's spontaneous, even if it's spin the bottle, like that's kind of fun, that's kind of exciting. When it's a relative, it's a little weird. It's a little weird for me. I don't know. I don't want to make anybody here one of those lip kisses. We should have asked this first.
You had a situation with a family member. Why don't you tell Ed, and then he can maybe analyze this.
Well, it was a step aunt, so it doesn't count. She wasn't blood.
Well, wait a second. What happened? The law is pretty specific on, blood is not always required.
Really?
Listen.
I've never gotten into the full experience of what happened. But.
Well, you know what? Now's the time. I think people want to hear this. I don't want to make you uncomfortable because I don't want to make light of it if it's painful for you. But tell us about how you had sex with your aunt.
That's the greatest question of all time.
I think we might have something.
Yeah, I should. Let me be. I don't want to be. I don't want to be over the top. Your step in.
Yeah, it's my uncle's second wife.
So, at what age were you when you first met her?
Mid-20s.
Okay, so you were not in your childhood.
Oh, no.
Okay, that takes so much off the table in terms of issue. This is starting to actually sound like a phenomenal experience.
No one's going to jail anyway.
Yeah, no, not yet. Not for the obvious stuff. But so
we're adults.
You were adults. How old was she? How much older was your step-aunt?
Maybe 15 years.
Oh my!
12 years. 15.
Okay, folks, this is the beginning of a really good story. I think I actually read this in Penthouse Forum. Yeah, I remember that. The kids today don't know Penthouse Forum, but people of our age, it was poetry. But go ahead. So she was about 15 years older.
No, that was it.
Was there an instant chemistry on both sides, or just her towards you?
No, I mean I I'd kind of had a thing for her.
Really? She was a good-looking woman?
Yeah.
As I remember, you were at the lake, and her husband went out boating, and you two were left alone in the house, and that's when the chemistry began to click.
Yeah, well, we made sure I didn't want to go out on the boat because I knew what was going to happen.
Really?
Really? You knew
So
it was going to happen?
now, had that
Papa
been
Boner?
spoken, or there was just clearly that vibe that says, I have this vibe with this woman that I think if we found ourselves in the right situation, everything else is going to take its course. You could feel nature already taking its course. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, well, there were little things,
Like she said, let's get my husband on a boat. Maybe she came right out. That's what the women today would do.
Rub my leg,
Oh, my God.
Wow, Doug.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Is it under the table, or is this side by side on the couch, or is it under the...
happen.
Yeah.
If not, I didn't really want to go on a
And
boat anyway.
did you feel, was there a part of you that felt like, listen, we're all grown adults, and if this is meant to be, it's meant to be? Did you feel any allegiance or loyalty to your uncle to say, you know what, this is his person, and I'm going to stay away from that?
No, because I knew my uncle was cheating on her, so it didn't matter.
That's fantastic. So you spun the moral compass wildly
How would
to
you
your
know?
favor.
How would you know that?
Listen,
I've been to his place in the Ozark all the time. There's times when I'd come down and I'd say, I need to borrow your golf clubs. We're playing golf today. And he'd open up his trunk, and there's like thousands of beer bottles. And he goes, don't tell your aunt had a big party last night. Because he owned a restaurant, so a lot of the people from the restaurant would always come back to the house. So he probably wouldn't have cared if he found it anyway.
Do you think, I was going to say, do you think on some level, I've been surprised
Sounds like
by
he
that.
was encouraging.
Yeah, as I've listened, you know what? As I've gotten older, you meet more and more people. People get more comfortable talking about the things that they find stimulating, and you get surprised by it. I mean, the truth of it is, your uncle might have known about that completely, and there may be some perverse part or kinky part of that I don't know, that took pleasure in that.
Wow, Doug, that sounds like a cock.
But is there such thing as a step aunt? Because
She's an aunt. She's not a step aunt. She was an aunt.
That's right, and this doesn't deter from your story. I'm just thinking about the step aunt scenario. Wouldn't your first aunt be a step aunt because she's not blood too?
Well, they're never step aunts. They're just they're the aunts, not by blood. But remember, I think the idea of it being the second, and I don't want to speak for you, but I think we could all agree that your original aunt tends to be somebody around the same age as your uncle, and then they're just an old lady.
Yeah, and then
the second aunt, you like to think this is the one that came later on.
Yeah, it looks like a news team where the man is 50 and the girl's 25.
That's what I'm assuming was the case here. This was a younger second wife.
Yeah, but my first aunt was.
She was a good-looking woman as well.
No. But we knew she was
a dog.
Somebody that was always around.
Okay. And did you do anything with her, or was there maybe a hand action type of situation with the first aunt?
Oh,
no.
Now,
Okay.
Iggy,
So listen, wait, I think we need to get back to the details.
She fit one of the prongs. She was attractive.
I don't want to mislead the audience. Your uncle's on the boat. You're back.
My whole family's on the boat.
No, they're all gone. Now it's you and your aunt. You're on. You stayed behind. What happened next? Who made the first move?
Good question.
Somebody make a drink?
No, she did.
She made the first move. She had to, right?
Oh, yeah.
She had to clear the way.
Yeah, I don't want to be wrong about these signs.
No, I mean, can you imagine the awkwardness?
Yeah.
And God bless her for taking a chance.
God,
Is she still around? Is she still with us?
No.
She's
I
not.
I told the story. She was still alive.
Okay. All right. Well, you listen. I don't think. I think she'd be proud of the story. Why? Because listen.
She's fun-loving.
She's fun-loving, and you know what? And now she's not with us anymore.
Sporting as well.
You look back on,
very sporting.
Listen, you look back on your life, right? You think she would have regretted that, or you think she'd say, you know what? I'm glad I took the experiences that life handed me.
I had
now my
sex,
life
and now Dad is dead.
And I'm grateful for every one of those things.
No, I'm sure she didn't regret it.
No.
How could she?
My God.
How could she with you?
The quiet confidence.
Stallion to my right.
That was the quiet confidence. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, you don't really remember, right, that many things from your life. You only remember the things that really stood out one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else just kind of goes into the blur. So,
Was this her first blue hair?
You can't.
No, I'm saying,
Was
was
it-
this like the first?
Was it your first blue hair?
Well, I meant like that. Just to
She was
tell-
like in her
your first,
40s,
like,
is what I'm hearing.
15 years older and decent enough, but not the
40s,
oldest
right?
one
He was in
you've
his
been with at the
20s.
time.
Right.
Oh, no. Leona Helmsley was...
Okay, I didn't know the
He was
time.
with,
Iggy slept with Leona Helmsley.
I meant
he
at
did.
that time. I
Did
didn't
you
know
really?
the time.
Queen of Mean.
Oh, it wasn't
Good for you.
for me.
No, I can't
In her
imagine
prime.
it would have been. She was a harsh-looking woman.
Oh, she sure
She
was.
wasn't that bad back then.
But she looked cold.
She could. Well,
She didn't seem like a warm lover. But I mean, you would know. I wouldn't know.
no. I got a gold bracelet on it. It was fun.
Well, there, listen.
That's the weirdest part about that story is
So much return on investment.
I'm still not sure if they're kidding with me or not.
No.
No,
Leona Helmsley
that's
thing?
true.
No, that's well. I mean,
Oh,
I don't
my
know it, but Iggy is.
so like in a
That's
6
something I wouldn't make up. Trust me.
So in a 6 degrees of separation type of situation here, like I've now basically been with Leona Helmsley.
Sure you
You're
have.
right here next to me.
Iggy claims to have been
and
with,
I've been with the Zan.
he claims to have been with 500 women.
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Is that in a positive way? Do you feel good about that?
Yeah,
do you
I
feel
didn't-
guilty about
no,
that?
It wasn't a bragging thing. It was just.
No.
It was just a factual.
I
just
think
a
I was
reality.
talking about
Pure
that.
data.
I've only been in love with one woman my entire life.
That's Anna
because
Cardante.
I never.
Laura Patterson.
Laura
wanted to
Patterson,
be-
come on.
Never wanted to be tied down.
Nebraska.
Well, you were in
Let me
Chicago.
ask you this.
It was more of a job. Than
Was it that you didn't want to be tied down, or that you didn't want to put yourself in a position where you could be really hurt?
Wow.
Self-sabotage, maybe.
What? On the couch.
I mean, seriously, think about it for a
because
second.
I've never been hurt.
But
for the
it-
most part.
I
so
know,
I
but
didn't
sometimes
want to say
you
I
could
don't
have-
want that to happen again. So.
Sometimes you could have think about what you said. I've never been hurt. I mean, and almost with a little bit of pride. You know,
not
I mean,
pride, but happy that.
yeah, that you haven't, but you have to wonder, the rest of us are out there knowing that we've all had some really bad hurt. And maybe on some level, you have an intense fear of being hurt. You've basically kept a distance from certain things to avoid the kind of landmines that, you have this fear of what might happen. If you really felt that intensely strong about somebody else that you felt like you truly didn't feel complete without them in your life, the fear of not having that person work out, it can be intense.
Yeah, it could be.
And
I
you
don't
feel
know,
like
I just
you
never.
just-
I never liked being tied down.
Well, let me ask you this: when it's come to your sexual partners, and you've had 500 of them. Well, listen.
Which is obviously
true.
accurate.
Listen, there's, the people say that sex is like pizza. It's all good. It may not all be the best, but it's all good. But the truth of
Like
it
the
is,
deep
that's
dish.
something clever we say, right? And it's funny, and maybe it's true. But I think in the world of sex, there is a hierarchy where if you have a true intimate connection, a true passion, a true mutual attraction, that is something operating at a much higher, more satisfying level than what most sex is, which is transactional. I say transactional, I don't mean, for cash, although, that's out there too.
It's a quick
I'm
option.
talking about just the emotional transaction, the expectation of it, or, you're riding one person's desire and the other person, maybe not that into it. Or just, how a couple operates. I provide these things, you provide these. That's a lot of what's out there. You wanted to feel good one night, the other person wanted to feel good one night, and you thought, hey, we could feel good together. That's transactional. So I ask you, when it comes to the 500 partners, how many of them do you think allowed you to have that first kind of, intimacy versus the second kind?
I don't know. Most of them.
Really?
Really? You're a passionate man.
Well, I do. I
God,
care
you're a
about-
passionate
I care about
lover.
pleasing. No, there's times that I fake
Honest.
orgasms.
Yeah. No, I
just
want
want it
this
to be
is.
over with.
Ed, what are your thoughts on that, Iggy? Faking orgasms.
We had a good time. Okay, I'm done.
Have you been faking your orgasms, Iggy?
Is that possible with a guy? Don't you have visual proof of what happened, right?
Nah, there's the old cream pie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Listen, I think a man is perfectly capable of faking an orgasm.
I get it too.
You
Yeah,
got a
I
condom
get it.
on. She's not going to know. You just fake
Yeah.
it and then get off.
I mean, and
Man,
now,
I have a lot to learn.
wait, are you saying you've never faked an orgasm?
Me? I don't. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I got to be honest, I haven't either.
Really?
I get excited every time.
Right, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You never had that experience of it just taking so long that you started to feel guilty?
Yeah, I feel guilty in the act quite often, but because of my lack of quality performance. But as far as me faking the orgasm, no, truthfully.
Every time I take my shirt off and look at myself in the mirror, I feel bad.
Is that right?
You do?
Because the nipple,
Bad.
She's the one faking.
Yeah, that's why I'm
he
more
has an
worried about.
elongated nipple here, Ed.
I've never been in a situation go, man, I'm going to have to fake this one with Madison.
Elongated
Not
nipple
ever.
hair?
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay,
like right on
you
the,
understand that the hair
areola.
can be trimmed.
See, I'm actually.
If they were elongated nipples, I would feel for you.
I
Some
think
are
it's
6 inches in length. length.
I think it's almost
The
at
hairs?
this point like a bonsai tree to where I've groomed it so much to where I feel like cutting it is almost a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
So now it's just you got the 2 long 6 inches, and then you have those little mini tufts.
Okay,
like a little
listen.
kid.
I feel like I need to add a 4th criteria to my love chart.
Prong. 3A.
4th prong.
New prong alert.
Yeah, you have to be comfortable with really unusual nipple hair.
Correct.
I never knew that this had to be a thing.
Yeah.
This is an
I have
addendum.
no chest hair,
Oh,
just a
my
little happy trail.
Lord.
And you should have saw in Jamaica. They didn't get it. They didn't understand it. The people at the pool in Jamaica were looking right at me. I didn't want to talk about that or bring it up. They saw the nipple hair and they had no idea what was going on. Look, it looks like earmuffs.
You know,
like,
and yet you allow it. You know, that kind of that.
Free.
I want to understand the psychology of that, because we've all seen gentlemen out there who have these crazy eyebrows. You know, the eyebrows, they just let them grow forever. You don't know them, but you're desperate to get
Andy
in there
Rooney.
with the clippers. Yeah, just they're unkempt. Or
Ever seen
some of
Wally
them-
Moon's unibrow?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. His and there's so many. All the baseball players in the '60s. You look at those baseball cards, and they're these massive unibrows.
Yeah.
But you get these people with the fluttering eyebrows, and I want to interview them. I want to do a documentary. I don't want to offend, but I want to understand. You know, I don't want to judge, but I need to understand. And I feel like I've not had that opportunity yet. But your long nipple hairs are the closest that I've ever come to being able to ask the psychology. It's so easy to have a nipple hair conforming nipple hair.
I think for
And you choose these opportunities to not conform. Why? I need to understand the psychology.
I think
of it.
when it first started, when I wouldn't say a tyke, I would say I'm probably 17 or 18 when they really started to
Tyke with
become
nipple
flush.
A thing.
You know. And at that time, I didn't have a lot of chest hair. You know, I wasn't the most physically gifted specimen like I am right now.
Yeah,
Obviously.
no, you're a
the
beautiful man.
115 pounds, work out all the time. So I think it was more self-conscious of, hey, if I have these nipple hairs, you know, it'll showcase my manliness. And then I got this little happy trail down there. And after a while, I just decided, you know, and we talk about Iggy going full porpoise. I think from the neck down. I think that's been a topic a few times. And I've never really gotten to the point where I felt the need to go shave the nipple hair.
even after Jamaica.
Even after the looks in Jamaica, which if that doesn't do it, I don't think anything will.
Well, you know, I applaud your self-confidence.
Madison points him out in a positive manner.
Oh, she likes him.
Well, I think she does it for just, you know, self-esteem for my
Well,
son.
you know, I think there is something, though, to be said about how she may view you. I mean, she may view you as a person who's self-assured and confident, and that can be very...
Hawk is
that can
very
be
confident.
Very confident, yeah. And I
As you
think that
should
helps.
be, as everybody should be. You deserve to be, and I think that to me was what I always assumed the answer would be, which is just a person who's just truly comfortable with themselves and is not really concerned about what the rest of the world thinks. And then at the end of the day, the world's actually impressed.
At this point, you're looking for
you
a
know-
Guinness World Record as well. I mean, it's
Oh,
almost at the
you're
point-
looking for a record.
I don't know what it
like a
is,
couple
but it
feet.
got to be getting there. I don't know how
Yeah,
many
most
people.
they're on a
psychologically, yeah. Okay.
The same goes for people who grow hair out of their ears and nose. They
Right.
sneeze, they look like a party favorite.
Yeah, what is
You
that?
don't ever look in the mirror?
Let me
Ever?
tell you, I get all of that taken care of. Even when it's not even so much out of vanity; it's out of total insecurity. I feel like I owe it to society, who has to look at me, to do whatever incremental improvements I can do so that people are not uncomfortable in my presence. So you know, I'm trying to live in a society, folks. So ear hair, you know, everyone knows I go to Iconic Male. You know, I've done segments there. I've covered them heavily. They're wonderful people. And they're actually right down the road from your office here. Great people. They might become sponsors. I've been encouraging them to become sponsors.
How about that?
I
And
did.
selling for us
I
now.
did because, you know, I was having my stuff taken care of there. And, you know, a lot of times the gal who takes care of me also owns the place, Jessica Brown, if you're listening, a little shout out. And she'll always ask me little bits of marketing advice because she knows what I do at the firm. And the last thing I said to her is I said, you know, you may want to think about the Morning After podcast. You know, their listeners, I think, are squarely in your demo. I think those are the people that you're appealing to. And, you know, a lot of people out there, you know, it's they only do handle men. It's not just haircuts, obviously. So they do the waxing. I get the ears done. I got the smoothest ears in the business.
Have you really?
For about the first week. Then they go back to being
Smooth
everybody
ears.
else's. Then they go back to being an ape, and then they're the smoothest again, just depending on how
They
I
wax. I didn't know they waxed ears.
Well, they wax ears. I do the insides of my nostrils, which Andy won't do because he says it's dangerous and it might kill me. But if you saw how smooth the inside of my nostrils
So
were,
you ought to take a look.
I mean, there wouldn't even be a
a
question
panty
that
dropper?
it was worth the
You
gamble.
need a little bit of a filter system in there, though.
You got to shape your brows.
Almost feels high, like you're breathing in high altitude, right? I feel like without the hair. Wouldn't that be the feeling?
It feels like you're breathing. It feels like you just had a peppermint patty and you're breathing in the sensation.
Oh, really?
It's wonderful. Oh, it's a clean
Doesn't
breath.
it hurt to have that done?
Now, for an instant, it actually doesn't hurt that bad. I've had other people in there do some waxing on me. Some have a little technique that's even a little bit smoother than the other. You just want somebody who pulls confidently.
Pulls confidently.
Yeah, you don't want a waxer without a confident pull.
No, I wouldn't think so.
That's
It's a
just
Band-Aid. Rip
add
this
that
thing
to the
off.
life lessons of today. That's what you're relying on them for. That's why you don't wax yourself, because you know that little part of you. We're DNA trained not to inflict self-harm, so we're not going to give ourselves the stiff pull required to do a proper waxing. So what are you really going to them for? One, they have a better vantage point. So if they're doing your nethers, you like to think they're seeing a little better than you would be. But no, you're there for the confident pull,
Ed, we could talk to you probably for the entire show, and some of the audience is requesting that you stick around for the entire show. But I'll wrap it up with this text. Ed may be the best sit-in guest in TMA history, and we are in our 20th year now. Absolutely gels. Can this show add another producer/co-host? That comes from Fuelsy. I don't know if you're looking to add on to your job responsibilities, but the people are requesting more Ed.
The people can have as much Ed Herman as they want. I love you guys. I've really gotten close to the podcast.
God bless.
I've been listening, and this is my thing. This is what
I could say
that's
you're
why I
listening
say
forever.
that's why I say appreciate your job. You've got a great job.
Doug, he's talking to you.
Especially with this minimum wage bump.
Yes.
now
listen. Now,
$12.50 an hour. Now.
It's all going. It's all going your way.
It really is.
All right, 2024 is for you.
Ed, wonderful to see you, and wonderful just to listen to the knowledge.
Listen, I really appreciate it.
I am telling you, Ed Herman, Brown and Crouppen with us here on Tuesdays. Great to see you. Great to hear from you. We'll take a commercial break, wrap up our 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock hour. Hell, it's 8:38, but we're wrapping up the 7 o'clock hour, brought to you by Munganess St. Louis Acura, Munganess Burkhardt Alton Toyota. This is the Morning After, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day.
Here's Action Jackson with 3 more ways to get TMA content.
Check out listener rewards on the new TMA mobile app. Watch the show live on the TMA studio cams. Find it at TMASTL.com. Get the podcast on the TMA app. Download it now.
Thanks, Jackson. It's the Brown and Crouppen Morning After on 105.7 FM HD2.
Urban Dictionary defines thirsty as purposely, knowingly, and recklessly attempting to gain fame to boost self-esteem. So, are you thirsty? Well, TMA has you covered. Become a part of the 2023 TMA Listener of the Month Club. You nominate yourself for a monthly award. And if you win, you get recognition and stuff to help you satisfy that insatiable thirst. We're talking January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, etc. Go to TMASTL.com or the TMA app. Give us your name, a photo, and other pertinent information. Tell us why you deserve to be TMA Listener of the Month. And if you don't want to use your real name or photo, we don't really care. The TMA Listener of the Month. Get recognized just for being you, or fake you, or whatever. Quenched by Milagro Tequila. Welcome to the brighter side of tequila with Milagro in the Morning After on KPNT HD2.
When we think of a real estate agent, we think of somebody simply selling our home or finding us a new one. I mean, they're all the same, right?
Okay, here's the comps. We'll take some pics, we'll post them, and I'll get back to you, okay?
A home is life-changing, and your real estate agent should reflect that. Honesty, integrity, and someone who will go above and beyond to make your dreams come true.
The Jeff Lutman Group with Compass Realty. We're different because you're different. We want what you want. Experience the difference today at jefflutman.com, bringing people and properties together.
Bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circus Sports is now available in Illinois. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I've been a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. We're excited that the Circus Sports app is now ready for action. Experience big app bets with high betting limits, tight money line splits, and more. Now you can download, fund, and bet like a pro from anywhere in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Biggie's Restaurant and Bar has been a staple of the community for over 30 years and is serving your favorites like the steak sandwich, waffle fries, and so much more. It's not just the food that's rocking. With a full bar and patio, Biggie's is the perfect spot for lunch, dinner, and a little laughter. Biggie's original hours are back. Open 11 a.m. till midnight, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And 11 a.m. till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Check out the full menu at biggiesrestaurant.com and stop in today.
Iggy's Drops of the Week.
You turned me on to Cheryl Dilcher about a year ago.
Let's just show the wrist show that, hey, we're the new kids on the block, but we got listeners.
You're raw dogging it, bro.
There you go.
I can guarantee you, at least 100 guys listening to this can't get hard. Who had the first kid? There's probably no better dressed person out of me and everybody listening than me.
Don't be a cuck or a fat hairy ape. Shave your nuts with Manscaped.
Yeah, he'd never seen a gentleman he wouldn't service.
How do I get my mitts on one of those Kevin Na shirts?
I know my brother-in-law can't swallow. Who's utterly bisexual?
You were dogging Kevin Na on Monday. What's up with that?
On the catwalk? Yeah, on the catwalk. How about the catwalk? Yeah, the catwalk.
Now that you're representing Blue Chew, you know a lot about stiffing.
Ooh, Doug, nice. I think you set him up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Do I have one today?
Yes.
I'm not prepared.
So you'd like to defer on your one live read.
What do you do for a living there, Sideburns?
Huh?
And I've seen a lot of nudity in movies, Doug.
So we're overthinking this because it's all ridiculous anyway.
So scissoring is your jam? Let me tell you, that Patrico can smash. Who's got Yeezys?
You wore a pair in the other day, didn't you?
Yeezys?
Douche.
Find something to do.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
Whenever you guys talk golf, I kind of turn the radio down. That doesn't interest me.
Are we still fascinated with beautiful women?
The first time she took her top off,
oh yeah,
I said, wow.
Herb sounds so tall.
She's bisexual counterpart of mine.
When I'm caddying for Tim and we're reading putts, I have to think of how Tim's putting.
Just out of curiosity, where did you play yesterday where things were so awry?
Normandy.
Yeah, they don't charge you over there, do they?
Oh, I'm just tired of it, man.
So he can shut right up.
Now, if you can't get hard, I get hard if the wind blows. This could be the most stupid comment I've ever made.
Oh, I love legs.
Yeah. Sorry to bother you. It's a two-pronged sword.
Yeah, you'd have been a hell of an officer.
Tap that app.
We did a good hour, Doug.
That was Iggy's Drops of the Week.
You've heard us talking about Mark Hanna from Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Mark and his team provide a personalized, holistic approach discussing cash flow, liquidity, debt, investments, insurance, taxes, and they pull it all together into a strategy that fits for each individual client. Start the new year off with a judgment-free conversation with Mark Hanna. Visit evergreenstl.com to learn more. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC, a broker-dealer. Equitable Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Evergreen Wealth Strategies is not a registered investment advisor and is not owned or operated by Equitable Advisors or Equitable Network.
The choice of a lawyer is important and shouldn't be based on an ad.
If you're seriously hurt in an accident, you'll want all the money you deserve. That's called justice. But there wouldn't be lawyers if justice was easy. No, justice is not easy. It's fought for and it's won. At Brown & Crouppen, we fight for justice every day. If you want some, call 222-2222. Because at Brown & Crouppen, justice is our business.
Hey, if you like the morning after, check out Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. HD1, by the way. It's Sports Talk with Tim McKernan and Action Jackson from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. each weekday, right after the morning after. It's the worst named show in the history of radio, but the content's pretty good, so check it out on 101 ESPN or get the podcast on the TMA app.
105.7 HD2. It's the Brown & Crouppen Morning After.
Roll Tide. Hook 'em.
I'm happy I don't have to hear Roll Tide again this year.
Fun game to watch, though.
I root for everybody over Alabama. I don't care if you did cheat.
What if
I
St.
know.
Gabriel's played Alabama?
Well,
St. Gabe's would get
St.
that
Gabe's
surprising
wins if
upset.
they play at home. I know that. That
Imagine
home cooking.
Every Alabama player get kicked out in the first 2 minutes.
Sure. Fun go and take care of that. Welcome back. It is TMA, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. And I was just telling market manager John Kiowski during the commercial break that it turns out the best host on TMA is also the title sponsor of TMA. I think it's time we look in the mirror and just go, why don't we just replace all of us with Ed Herman?
Well, if you're intelligent like that, you can get a better job, I think is the lesson. We're lucky to cling by our fingernails to the edge of the radio industry. He had a lot of good things we could clip off.
Well, I'm telling you, it was a clip-off festival.
Great, dude. You're fantastic. Maybe just do that for a little best-of segment, a little 5-10 minute little Ed breakdown.
Kind of a journalism primer on questions you should be asking.
Well, it was a little journalism, a little deposition, a little bit of both. Send your emails in, your thoughts on the first hour of TMA, of course, presented to you by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess Burkhardt Alton Toyota. Send your emails in for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Design Air is online at DesignAirService.com. The great Seth Goldcamp and his staff will take wonderful care of you. Still no snow. I guess we had flurries over the prominent winter holiday break, but no real accumulation. I'm going to take a look at the forecast, Doug. Boy, just nothing doing. And I don't see anything, not even a snowflake on mine. Now, this is, the iPhone forecast, but I see only 1 day of precipitation, and that's next Tuesday. So, I don't know. I guess snow is a thing of the past.
I suppose had that little bit of flurry come on like Christmas Eve, that would have been perfect. Just a little of that, and then gone 2 days later.
Yeah, it was pretty, but it didn't stick, and it was ended up being like 40-something a day. So,
Yeah, no complaints from me at all. Now you hear people say, oh, it's 30, it's cold out there. Remember last year at this time, around Christmas, when it was, the planes couldn't fly? It was dreadful. So enjoy it while it's here. You never know.
James Carlton's going to be in studio. Gabe normally would join us, but he is not available today. I don't know if it's not really a big deal, but he does have a family obligation, and so we knew he wasn't going to be able to join us. I'd be curious what he has to say. Gabe and I disagree on some things, and he's one of my favorite people in the world, so we'd be able to have a good conversation about it. But I recall one of his thought processes
are.
So good.
Processes.
He was really high on Roll Tide based on the performance of the SEC, I suppose in particular, Missouri against Ohio State, SEC, Big Ten, Ole Miss against Penn State, SEC, Big Ten, and I thought, I just disagree with that. And he had tweeted that out before LSU came back to beat Wisconsin, and I think it's, and again, I love the Colonel, so this isn't like a passive-aggressive way to, get at somebody I don't like and do radio wars. That's not it. I think the world of the guy. I just thought that to base any premise of predictive analysis off of bowl season is, you agree with me or disagree with me, Paul?
I agree 100%.
Okay, yeah. It's just two different, I mean, that was not the Ohio State team of November. That's, it's just, you don't know what you got. And so, and then again, I want to reemphasize, because I realize there is a portion of the Missouri fan base that is looking to come after you if you do not praise the Cotton Bowl win as if it were this signature moment for the program. I'm thrilled by the win, but I'm just saying I think everybody would acknowledge that that was not the same Ohio State team that we saw throughout the course of the season. It would be very odd to try to argue otherwise. But with that said, it is a great thing for Missouri that they won. And I would say this, and I'll say it over and over again, there isn't a team in college football in 2023 that I don't think Missouri could beat. I think Missouri could beat anybody. I think they could lose to, 10, 15 teams too. But I just think that was also 2023. But I think in general it speaks to how great Missouri was, in particular in the trenches this year. But my overall point being is that I wouldn't use bowl games and conferences versus conference as a predictive analysis because, as we see, bowls are now and have been for a while. It's just getting a lot more attention in this year. They're exhibition games, and you have no idea who is playing, and you also have no idea who really gives a damn.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I think you have to be careful, too, judging it by conferences. You talk about the top 10 teams, regardless of the conference that they're in, if they've got their players, it kind of becomes an any given day type of thing. I mean, Michigan, does that say the Big Ten is superior to the SEC because they won in overtime? And no. Is the Pac-12 better than the Big 12 because Texas didn't complete the pass with 1 second? No. They're all about the same. It's like pro sports where anything can happen.
That's it. But I mean, it's what makes college football fun / torturous. It cuts both ways because you can't have these discussions. Nobody's having this discussion regarding the Baltimore Ravens. If anything, I think the Baltimore Ravens' greatness this year may be flying under the radar. But with college football, it's always, people can get proprietary about conferences and get proprietary about teams, and you can spin to advance your team or go against a team, whatever fact you would like, which is why I prefer, which is what Ed Herman was just saying, math is dangerous because you are either right or wrong. And you either win or lose. Nobody is judging the cosmopolitan elements of Michigan's win over Alabama. They beat Alabama. No one is judging the cosmopolitan elements of Washington's win over Texas. They beat Texas, period, as opposed to take your pick of whatever bowl game or non-conference game and how you can spin facts. Oh, the ACC dominated the SEC this year. Okay, what SEC teams did they play? And then we can play that whole game. The SEC beat Penn State and beat Ohio State. Those are the top teams along with Michigan. So therefore, Ohio State Michigan must not be very good. It can also lead into some very bad wagers. But yesterday, I thought the thing that stood out to me is Alabama was fortunate that they were still in that game at the half. I mean, they were dominated as much as one can be dominated, trailing by 3 points. But they were dominated in the trenches. And there was a bet. I was watching that game live, as I imagine the vast majority of our audience was. And I had taken Alabama +2 for a unit. Doug, you like that when somebody says a unit?
No, I don't care for it.
And I saw that with Michigan getting the ball back after Alabama had gone up 7, so I'm up 9, which I obviously wound up losing with the overtime. But Alabama was -6.5, and I think Michigan was getting the ball, whatever, I think it was after the kickoff, probably the 25-yard line, would be my guess. And I was saying to my wife, I said, I got to tell you something. I think I have a fiduciary responsibility to this family, to bet the entirety of my bankroll on Alabama -6.5 because I see maybe 1 out of 100 times Michigan is going to drive the field and score a touchdown. They're not going to kick a field goal. This is either a touchdown or the end of the game. And I just don't see the Michigan offense being able to do that. Well, F me with a couple double-enders. Because that's exactly what the Wolverines did. They had a 4th and 2 play. Alabama had a missed assignment. And I believe it was Blake Corum who caught that pass. And it would have went for 35 yards. There was a block in the back. But they were able to drive down the field, had a pass deflected, but it still, as Chris Fowler observed, it continued to spiral right to the Michigan receiver. That was a huge play. And they scored the touchdown. I was wondering if they would go for the 2 there.
Yeah, that was 2.
I like what they did. I really do. I think that's kind of become, the analysts, the analytics say to go for it. I'm just like, I don't know about that. Maybe if you're Vanderbilt in Tuscaloosa and you're in that position.
Maybe if you feel like you're lucky to have gotten that position, that the other team's a little bit better and you probably are lucky to be in that situation.
There was one this year, K-State, Texas. I don't know what K-State was doing, going for Texas for the life of me on that. So,
especially after the kicker had already missed a few extra point. And
and that was a theme for both teams. and this is something that tortured Missouri, one could make a case, cost them the LSU game, centers on both sides. Bad snaps for Michigan that played a role in those missed field goals, an extra point, and played a role in the final play. That play, I got up this morning because I went to bed well before that Texas-Washington thing. I mean, that was going to be late anyway, and then it didn't kick off until after 8 o'clock because of the Rose Bowl ending late. But, I got up and I watched that game this morning, Washington, Texas. So I woke up and had no idea who won. But Matt Hasselbeck, or Tim Hasselbeck, or Darnell Coles was with Scott Van Pelt.
All three of them.
I think they all were there. And Hasselbeck was going over the play, and he goes, it looks like it was just a dumb play call, and Milroe runs right into the line. Yeah. He goes, but here, take a look at what this play was. And he goes, it was perfect. Two things happened here. Number one, the snap was low, again, from the Alabama center. And then number two, and I don't know the Michigan player, but the Michigan player bust through the Alabama right tackle, and that's what blew up the play. Had the snap been correct and he was able to lean forward as opposed to be on his heels because of the snap being low, he just has to run off the, I believe, left guard's left ass cheek, and it's wide open for the touchdown. But tip of the cap to Michigan, tip of the cap to Michigan throughout the course of the game, tip of the cap to the Michigan offense. Corum sets the Michigan all-time touchdown record with one of the most significant touchdowns in the program's history. And so that sets the stage for Michigan versus Washington, and you got two undefeateds when it's all said and done, playing each other for the national championship.
I think some of those mistakes are kind of what make college football so entertaining, because you never really know what you might see. In the NFL, you don't see that many bad snaps to the quarterback, or guys running into a punter who fair catched a ball, or late hits in the back after the guy's already down, or some of the emotional misconduct penalties. You see some, but not nearly like what you do in the college game. How Washington came within a whisker of losing that game last night is just incredible, that they could have mismanaged the end of that game as badly as they did.
But I think also in the Michigan...
It was an injury.
Well, that was one of the things.
Right.
There was also a play earlier where they had 3rd and 4 with about 2.5 minutes. Instead of just run, all they wanted was a field goal. They threw a pass, incomplete, stopped the clock. Texas didn't have to take a timeout. Almost cost them the game.
There were 3 plays in the Alabama-Michigan game that you probably wouldn't see in the pros, not often enough, certainly not in the same game.
What do you got, Plowhawk?
With the Milroe fumble, when he was trying to get that extra half a yard and put it switched hands.
It was a great observation. I don't know if it was Fowler or Herbstreit who said he's had a problem switching to the proper hand, and he hadn't switched it, and that allowed the Michigan player to strip it. That, to me, certainly you can highlight in a game that tight and it goes to overtime. You can pick a variety of plays. But Alabama has the ball. They're driving. They're already up 4. And yes, they wound up eventually kicking a field goal because Michigan didn't do anything with that. That was the drive Michigan missed its field goal. Although, had they executed the flea flicker properly, probably scored a touchdown there. Nonetheless, Alabama's driving. That could have been where they established a Washington-like stranglehold on that game, so that fumble was critical. What else do you have? I like that observation, too.
And then the 2 botched punt returns, one early in the game, I think, from the freshman, and then that late one, I think it's last name was Thaw.
He could have lived in infamy.
That guy was so close to being probably kicked off the university, I would say, it was that bad. But he did a great job. I like how they pointed out that he did a really good job recovering from that. I like how they pointed that out to avoid any social media bashing, because the game wasn't over yet. It's still, anybody's game, but that right there was so close to being the absolute worst blunder in college football history. And those two, you don't see that often in the program, Doug. I like that you brought that up, because the Milroe fumble, I couldn't believe it. He's crawling and trying to get an extra half a yard. I didn't understand it.
You forget sometimes these guys are 19, 20 years old, get another 4 or 5 years experience and strength under them, and they don't make some of those mistakes. But the kicking is different, too. You watch the NFL, these guys are almost flawless.
Alabama
Butker at Kansas City and the guy at Dallas, neither one has missed a field goal all year. They're 35, 36 in a row.
I think Butker's missed a couple.
Yeah, he was
really good.
As
of Saturday, I don't think he'd missed any.
Yeah, I think he started the year 34 and 34, then he missed 2 in a row.
And then made 6.
But the Dallas guys had missed one.
But I can't get over, the kicking game is so weird. Alabama kicker legit. That dude playing on Sundays.
Will Riker, Doug, all-time leading NCAA point scorer.
You think the thicker kicker will get an NFL shot?
Of course. Although kicker kind of revolving door. But I'm bad at the bowl season was. It was the worst that I ever anticipated. The games were so lopsided, so bad to watch. I couldn't even watch a full one. Those 2 games last night saved it all.
Well, sure,
I can't wait for a
is-
12-team playoff.
It's just going to be outstanding, and that's why this quote-unquote problem of the bowls. It's like college football is about to enter an era in which you are going to get, and you're going to have some games inevitably because you'll have the group of 5 thing. So you have what you had with Oregon and Liberty yesterday. But so that will be the 5 versus 12 most likely. So that'll be at the 5's home stadium versus the group of 5 champion. Most likely, again, who knows? You know, we've seen some years where you could make a case that like a Central Florida year, they would have been
Boise State had a couple
Boise
years.
State, where they would have been perhaps higher than 12. But either way, you know you're going to have that. But you're going to have those games, the bowl games. I feel like this is kind of, and I think, you know, as usual, my default position is to blame social media. But I have to tell you, of course, I think I'm right. Otherwise, I wouldn't espouse the opinion. I'm not from the Orlovsky family tree. So I say what I mean. But I think social media exacerbates takes that are going to be met with likes if you know that they're safe. However, bowls, this isn't a new phenomenon. Are we like longing for the days of Missouri's trip to Shreveport and like how important it was for them to beat South Carolina or Arkansas?
That was a nice bowl.
It was a wonderful bowl 2 decades ago. But these things have been exhibition games for a long, long time, and players have opted out for a long, long time. I think the thing that has made it more of a, quote, problem is the transfer portal being at the exact same month, and then also the bowl games feeling even more like an exhibition game, even though they were exhibition games minus a couple of them all the way going back decades. Because if you're not in the playoff, then it's like, yeah, well, then what does it matter? And I think this year with the Florida State-Georgia thing, that was like the cherry on top.
I thought Florida State put in a real solid effort.
You liked it.
Yeah.
By the time that kicked off, the number got to 23.5 was the spread. And I don't know if anybody ever had a sweat if you laid the 23.5 on that.
But you again still can't go, well, a court they didn't deserve to be in. They were demoralized. Now they're suing the NCAA. They're wanting to get out of the ACC. They were not focused on that game. So, yeah, the Alabama-Michigan game probably isn't the better game. That was a great game to watch. I understand Florida State would have got rolled in there. But that still doesn't answer the question of, did they get screwed? Because they did. But that game was miserable to watch every second.
It looked to me like all the Florida State offensive linemen put on at least 25 pounds of gut fat between their last game and that game 3 nights ago.
I hate the hindsight thing about, that answered the question if Florida State got screwed. Well, they did get screwed.
Well,
they
I knew that was coming, and we talked about that, I think, the morning after it all happened. I was surprised by the level of it. But I guess I shouldn't be, because Jackson, what is Andy Richter's?
It's a great time to be alive if you're dumb and mean.
So I guess I should never underestimate it. Just like results oriented, I'm just going, okay, well, that's fine.
You think the SEC would think about taking Florida State and dropping a Vanderbilt or something?
You would 100% want to, but you can't drop it. You can't drop a program.
I don't know. They can do everything else.
Relegate a program to the
they've done everything else.
That, the Vanderbilt grads lawyering up for that. I'd like to see that one play out.
It'd be fun court.
Florida State's in the process of suing the ACC.
Do you see their buyout number of the ACC? It's like $500 million, $560 million to get out of a contract. Is it that bad? I know you just got screwed, but now with the 12-team playoff, I think you could still survive in the ACC now. You got to pay $500 million to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, obviously they are in the trenches, and we are not. But with the playoff, I just don't understand why it matters now. With the playoff structure as it is, I don't know why it matters as much.
It wouldn't stun you if a Florida State and Clemson both got in some years.
I love that Miami and Florida State both in the SEC.
You could have 3 teams in there some year.
Yeah, you're chopping up Florida 3 ways at that point. But
that's true.
I don't know. You hear about the SEC and expansion and talk more of North Carolina and Virginia, actually, which might sound counterintuitive. But
Basketball would be fun, though. That's
James Carlton is in the building, and he will be joining us here momentarily. Munganess sponsor the 7 o'clock hour and official presenting sponsor of Balloon Party. Jackson, are we celebrating the second anniversary of Balloon Party today? Is it the third anniversary?
Second anniversary, starting our third campaign.
Wow, that was nice. Yeah. And what do you have today? Doug wants to know because he sometimes feels like there isn't prep.
What do you have?
Little Piddles weekend recap. Little recap of what's going on
the first day back. Gosh,
pepper some questions in from the listeners.
Yeah, cliche. We're going to wrap up the weekend because none of us know what happened on the weekend.
That's what we're going to do.
How about we look ahead?
How about New Year Nuggets?
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I think you might hear that in about an hour.
Yeah, I might have to amend.
That's coming your way on 101 ESPN, and what a gala we're going to have. I mean, if you think the 20th anniversary of TMA is going to be huge, and Doug, once again, Bob Hope is hosting that.
Dean Martin's going to be there, I understand.
Will be there.
Sammy Davis Jr.
All the greats.
And Gina and Lola Brigida.
Will all be in attendance. The second anniversary of Balloon Party today. Oh, what a pony it will be. Munganast, presenting sponsor online at stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com. It's Munganast, St. Louis Acura, Munganast, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, official automotive sponsor of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast, presenting sponsor of Balloon Party. Even if you didn't get your car from Munganast, St. Louis Acura, Munganast, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, get your car serviced from the great Ryan Seiberg in the service department there. 314-252-0029. That is the number for Munganast. Munganast, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, and Munganast, St. Louis Acura. Jackson, tell me about your hair.
Hair's making some good movements, man. Really feeling good about where we're at follically. We're making some.
You like that? Follicle?
I don't mind it.
Yeah, really feeling good. And that's all thanks to our friends over at St. Louis Hair Restoration. And they got some new things for you for 2024. They got some new things. Owner Greg Kryling sent us a message saying $250 off when people mention TMA. $250 off a treatment when you mention TMA or even mention hashtag Tufts. So when you go in there, you can also get a free consultation to start it out with St. Louis Hair Restoration. They're great people over there. Owner Greg Kryling, Dr. Pulinga. They're patients themselves. They've been through it for me. Simply just some finasteride and that laser cap that they gave me. Super easy to do. For Doug, a little FUE procedure, and now he's seeing somewhat verticality on his coif.
I don't say
nice,
verticality.
Jackson.
Well, it's clear 2024 is the year of the tuft.
Yeah.
You can see that from this hairline right now. I was thinking the other day, I'm going to have a better hairline at my funeral than I had at my college graduation.
How about that?
How many people can say that? Well, I can because I had that FUE procedure. That's where they take hair grafts from the side and the back of your head and transplant it where you're thin. Doesn't matter where you're thin. It works anywhere. And it'll work for you. It's worked for thousands of people. Dr. Pulinga is absolutely the best at this. He's done it for many years. Did it in Nashville for a while. He said he did some country music people that you would know. He's done some big name people. And now he's done me, the king of all toughs. And he can do it for you. So if you've been embarrassed by your hair, or you said, I wonder if it would really work. Yes, it works. It works great. And no, it's not painful. For me, a little bit of swelling on my forehead, but they said that only affects about 10% of the people. Most people don't have any swelling at all. Most people are good to go like a day or two later. You wear a baseball hat for a few weeks, maybe a month or two until, the scabbing goes away and you got to protect it a little bit. But then you're in the clear and then you'll have that hair permanently for the rest of your life. They can make it happen for you at St. Louis Hair Restoration. Remember, $250 off. All you got to do is mention TMA. That's stlouishairrestoration.com.
There it is. And, of course, we want to thank EDF, the EDF group, on board with this program now for a number of years. And we are grateful for their support, the EDF group. And, Doug, this year they are sponsoring something all new.
What?
Your hot take mittens.
Oh gosh.
How about that?
I've got the mittens right here.
Now,
dirty.
how about that?
Okay.
Dirty.
How about that, Bill?
Good, because I could use them. I'm going to need those mittens.
When some take starts spewing?
If they get really hot.
No.
I don't eat them all the time, but sometimes, sure.
When you grab those things, that is sponsored by the EDF group, sponsor of the Doug Hot Take Mittens for 2024.
Okay.
The EDF group is online at the edfgroup.com. Email the EDF group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF group can save your company money. EDF, the EDF Group, sponsor of Doug's Hot Take Mittens for 20.
I'll put them on right now.
24.
Tim.
There you go.
Okay.
Let the people see them on YouTube.
EDF.
295 of the
Mittens
cutest
right there.
guys in town are watching you.
Yeah. And I can withstand most of the hot takes. It's not 100% of the
You
times.
put them
Get too
in front of your
scolding.
face and they come out of people's mouths.
But this is good for just about 98% of the hot takes.
I like it.
A couple
I like it
could
a lot.
slip through.
Those are EDF Group mittens right there. Send your emails in Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. The morning after at InsideSTL.com. Send yours in for our Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today. Then at 10 o'clock, Jackson and I will head down the hallway. They're not going to be happy about it.
No, I wouldn't think so.
They're not going to be happy about it.
Not at this point.
I think it's going to be probably all college football talk. Not going to be happy about that. Maybe looking for a Blues Penguins breakdown.
The
I
loss
forgot the
outlet,
hockey season was still going on.
Oh, come on now.
Oh, my gosh.
You're not happy about
Jackson,
that?
have you forgotten the hockey?
What else have we got right now? With some
Zero.
basketball?
Lockstep.
I don't know. There's so much going on.
This is the point of the year where college football, I mean, you still got the game next week. I assume it'll end like at 1 in the morning.
You'll probably start at midnight.
But that this is my crash because I love college football. I am just because I don't play daily fantasy anymore, which is certainly saving me money. That's how I used to stay involved in the NFL. That's the only way, and I don't care about season-long fantasy football. I had no idea how great the Ravens are. And I think they're kind of a team that people don't really enjoy watching, as they point out themselves. But my God, that's a hell of a football team.
Lamar
But
Jackson going to be the MVP, probably.
But I am not like going, oh, well, the NFL playoffs. Certainly not interested in college basketball. And you got the grind of the NHL regular season. It's just...
Well, after watching Mizzou play against
Crap.
Illinois, you can't help but be excited about the Tigers.
What about the bounce back against
Lord.
Central Arkansas, Scottie Pippen's alma mater?
They're like 3-12, right?
God, but they
Central
just look...
Arkansas bunch. They were scrappy.
Mizzou just looked dreadful against Illinois. They looked like five guys who had never met each other before.
They're at that position to where they didn't get a great recruiting class to replace two really great cornerstone members of the university.
Yeah, they don't have NBA players to go to.
You can't replace those. You were an average to above average team last year. You can't replace those guys.
Their offense is,
next year
I
will
got
be
the
a lot
ball. What am I going to do with it? Shoot it! That's the offense.
U of I's in the top 10. Play Purdue on Friday.
Illinois looked great. Illinois passes the ball crisply, quickly.
We look
Missouri
really
doesn't
good.
seem to have a clue what they're doing on offense.
It's tough. Tough night.
I mean, it looks like a team that doesn't practice.
I was sitting in the Illinois section, too.
Uh-oh. Anybody recognize you? Were they coming after you?
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? I deserved all of the crap that was coming to me because I was such a jackass about Mizzou whooping Illinois last year. I deserved it real badly.
I think it was well deserved. They beat us by 25. We beat you by 20. I think that's acceptable. I think it's a good even out game.
Still a fun night. Still a great night.
Still a great
Steve
night.
Harvey.
But Mizzou beat them last year because they could not miss. Every three-point bomb they took, they made. This year, Illinois just looked so much better coached and so
We have
much more
three
fluid.
transfers, 3 new starters. I mean, it's a different team than what we had last year.
Yeah.
Which I like.
I was so disappointed in just the complete disarray that Missouri was in almost the whole game.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Doug, Todd Reesing, he oftentimes is not Jackson's favorite.
No.
He just wrote that coaching thou.
Yeah, no surprise the Kansas guy can't spell.
You think he meant to say wow?
No, though. That coaching, though.
Oh.
And he also wrote, leave it to Mizzou to have the most boring Cotton Bowl in our lifetime.
Hey! Come on!
Listen, tough times don't last. Tough people do.
That was a good take. I didn't even need the hot gloves for that.
You can
EDF
watch the
gloves.
Iowa game. My brother-in-law and sister and one of my nieces who goes to Tennessee was at the game, being it was in Orlando. And he just posted a picture, and I said, here's a bet for you. You will have more beers than Iowa scores points. So after the game, I said, if you had one beer, I was right.
How many points did Iowa get?
0 again.
Is that right? What was the final on that one?
I think 28-0.
They've had this problem all year. I think at some point you might
Going
come
on
up
for
with
a
a couple
while.
different plays.
It's just... Their offense should be banned from the NCAA. You can't play anymore unless you get a different offense.
Yeah, that's hard to be that inefficient for as long as they've been. Because they're usually a pretty good team. They've got a decent defense. To have absolutely to not figure out anything on an offense for months at a time.
And I don't think they had a lot of players not playing because of the NFL draft.
No.
Let's break. James Carlton to come in, then we'll have the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today, and then Jackson and I will make our glorious return to 101 ESPN, where they are all celebrating the second anniversary of Balloon Party, and we expect to be welcomed back with open arms. That's coming your way at 10 o'clock. James Carlton and the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today. Next, this is TMA presented to you by Brown and Crouppen.
Rosalitas know that a fun happy hour and scenic patio go together like fresh guac and chips. So take advantage of their covered patio this fall and winter at their De Pere location and enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Their sparkling margarita is made with Chambord raspberry liqueur and topped with a bottle of rosé Prosecco. They also have a variety of delicious margarita flavors, including mango, pomegranate, and blood orange, all made with top-shelf tequila and Cointreau. With phenomenal service, great margaritas, and a breathtaking atmosphere, there's always a reason to come to Rosalitas.
When we think of a real estate agent, we think of somebody simply selling our home or finding us a new one. I mean, they're all the same, right?
Okay, here's the comps. We'll take some pics, we'll post them, and I'll get back to you, okay?
A home is life-changing, and your real estate agent should reflect that. Honesty, integrity, and someone who will go above and beyond to make your dreams come true.
The Jeff Lotman Group with Compass Realty. We're different because you're different. We want what you want. Experience the difference today at jefflotman.com, bringing people and properties together.
Bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circus Sports is now available in Illinois. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I've been a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. We're excited that the Circus Sports app is now ready for action. Experience big app bets with high betting limits, tight money line splits, and more. Now you can download, fund, and bet like a pro from anywhere in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
The Post Sports Bar and Grill presents Iggy's Drops of the Week.
I probably sign more pictures and take more pictures with females than males.
And you, too, can let stepfathers know at St. Patrick's Day parades that you are down to clown.
Your droppings have become my soppings.
Yeah.
Outlook. What is that?
My naughty little hoodie.
There's nothing important that I could ever bother learn with.
I think there's a lot of determining factors on if I would stay with a guy with a 3-inch penis.
9 o'clock, nakey.
But God, this guy got cucked.
Where are you finding all these power tops?
Webcam for boys and girls.
This is a bowl with a button.
I don't want to get pumped.
I don't know if there's a hijacking or not. Once I go live, it lights up.
I was destined for stardom.
My problem this weekend was I really wanted to play Big Buck Hunter.
Oh, did we just change topics? And the ladies, you're looking for MVC Strange?
Yeah.
So I guess you got to be all lubed up. You never know when you're going to get gaped.
You're trying to pick up the Berg girls?
I've already had sex.
You're talking chamby pots.
Is it a thing that you're just playing around with us, that you never add S's to the ends of words?
Perhaps you picked up on this. I don't care about any of it.
Just make a putt, Fleetwood, you idiots.
Oh, your sphincter needs attention.
What's wrong? You got a load?
Yeah, when I hear about one man licking another man's leg scar, it really makes me want to watch.
Oh, you walk in, it's like a mosh pit of sex.
I'm me, baby.
Today I feel more like a top.
They know I'll be dirty.
I think that's going to negate the pleasure my tongue can give you.
They know I'll cuck them.
Talk about getting cucked.
What do you drink, Tim?
I mean, I smoke blunts and drive a minivan.
Last time I played with Cletus, he poked me with a golf club right in the boy parts.
Step off, Grandpa.
Doug, check out my calves, bro. Got a soft cow now?
Because I'm a good little boy.
Did the reverse cowgirl over the toilet.
A lot that you desire in the kink world.
Yeah, she's playing coy. I look up to you as my boss.
We could just erect a 600-foot statue of Tim.
And my glasses are perfect. Well, I definitely would spend money on you.
You're going to just do your own show now today, Leather?
No, I'm looking at the PBA standings for the Scorpion Open.
It was a pony, for sure. That's a Sherwin-Williams cuck.
Well, I definitely would spend money on you.
Should we be paying more attention to our Pinterest pages?
Are your nips taped?
You got some Illinois State strange.
That was Iggy's Drops of the Week, presented by The Post.
Stay posted, my friends.
Biggie's Restaurant and Bar has been a staple of the community for over 30 years and is serving your favorites like the steak sandwich, waffle fries, and so much more. It's not just the food that's rocking. With a full bar and patio, Biggie's is the perfect spot for lunch, dinner, and a little laughter. Biggie's original hours are back. Open 11 a.m. till midnight, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And 11 a.m. till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Check out the full menu at biggiesrestaurant.com and stop in today.
You've heard us talking about Mark Hanna from Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Mark and his team provide a personalized, holistic approach discussing cash flow, liquidity, debt, investments, insurance, taxes, and they pull it all together into a strategy that fits for each individual client. Start the new year off with a judgment-free conversation with Mark Hanna. Visit evergreenstl.com to learn more. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC, a broker-dealer. Equitable Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Evergreen Wealth Strategies is not a registered investment advisor and is not owned or operated by Equitable Advisors or Equitable Network.
The choice of a lawyer is important and shouldn't be based on an ad.
If you're seriously hurt in an accident, you'll want all the money you deserve. That's called justice. But there wouldn't be lawyers if justice was easy. No, justice is not easy. It's fought for and it's won. At Brown & Crouppen, we fight for justice every day. If you want some, call 222-2222. Because at Brown & Crouppen, justice is our business.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPN-TFM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day.
It's the Brown and Crouppen Morning After.
On KPNT HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis.
Think about this.
Pro should have played Tina E. I didn't know we didn't have Gabe. Tough.
Richard Marx. He had a feathered mullet.
Feathered?
Feathered. It was a feathered mullet.
Oh, okay.
This is the Morning After. It's presented to you by Brown & Crouppen. My name is Timothy Michael McKernan. On my right is Douglas Elvin Vaughn. Directly in front of me is the newly engaged Plowhawk. On my left is James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, online at carltoninsurance.net. And he's my insurance agent, and I think he should become your insurance agent as well because he has 349 five-star reviews on Google. And I don't know who does it better, but I'd like to meet him. I'd like to meet him is what I'd like to do.
Well, good morning and congrats, Plowsy. That's
Thank
fantastic.
You. I appreciate it. That's my insurance guy right there.
Hey, speaking of mullets, I was at a family gathering over the holidays, and one of the cousins is a high school kid, had a beautiful young girlfriend with him, rocking a mullet. I mean, is that coming back? Is that what these high school kids are doing now?
Mullets, and have you noticed the trend in perms in kids now because of Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah,
Really?
I've definitely seen that for a few years.
You get so much hair when you're in high school, you can do absolutely anything.
That's true.
As an insurance guy, would you recommend Plowsy insuring the wedding ring?
Absolutely.
Actually, I was just going to do
Look at Doug teeing one up
make
here.
sure that you were able to do that, by
Yes,
the way.
it's very inexpensive and it's very broad
We will talk
coverage,
about that
yes.
off air.
Very good.
Awesome.
Well, congrats again. That's
Thank you. I
fantastic. What a way
appreciate
to ring in the new year.
Absolutely.
James, you went to the Cotton Bowl.
I did, yeah, for a very, very short trip. Flight got delayed on the way out there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the wings were frozen. They had to de-ice them or something like that. And but anyway, got there in plenty of time. Got to hang out with Greg here at Hubbard down at his tailgate. And it was a great atmosphere, great stadium. You know, that's one of the better stadiums in the country, obviously with their Jumbotron and all that. And it was probably, I'd say 95% sold out. There was a few empty seats up top, probably on the Ohio State side, but it was a great atmosphere. It was just a tough product for 3 quarters. I mean, my wife was on Instagram quite a bit during that.
That was all right. More out of her mind.
Yes. I mean, I'm into it. I'm into all those plays, even though it's 3 and outs left and right, but I enjoyed it.
I had a compadre of mine. Jackson knows him. He's gambled with him. You actually know him as well. And he throws big bets around. And he reached out to me about an hour before the game. He goes, where do you put your money? I said, I can't bet this game. I said, the only way that I would do something is if I noticed something early on that really stood out to me, whether it be Ohio State's pushing Missouri around, or able to break through their offensive line, or you get a sense that Ohio State just has got nothing offensively, and that, Devin Brown at quarterback will be, not that McCord was some ridiculous quarterback, but after one series, truly, and I live bet him, I texted him right away. I said, I just live bet Missouri. Ohio State just isn't going to get it done offensively.
After that first 3 and out?
I'm like, they just don't have it. Now, that was before
you saw Missouri's offense.
Brown got hurt.
Oh, true.
But all Missouri had to do was stop the run. Once Brown was hurt, they just were in a spot where they could just stop the run. I mean, it totally changes the game plan.
Both defensive lines dominated that game. Both. I mean, neither offense could get anything going, particularly in the passing game until the fourth quarter for Mizzou, and I'm glad they did. And they probably could have won 21-3. I mean, they were taking a knee. So there's an uber situation there that's challenging. And so I read about that ahead of time. So after they scored that Burden touchdown, I was getting the wheels in motion.
Is that right? It's tough to get out of there?
It is a mess. It is a mess. And so
is that right?
I had a very early flight the next day. It was kind of a dumb way to plan this trip, but nonetheless, I got to go, and it was fun. But we booked it out of there after that Burden touchdown and still probably waited an hour to get an Uber.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you tell just any old Uber car, yes, it's me?
Well, you could, but they're going to verify. They're going to verify names and so forth. I mean, it's all safety things.
That's the last thing I would think of is to wait in line for an Uber in a stadium with almost 100,000 people.
Yeah, if you're the driver, I mean, I wouldn't want to. That's not a pickup I'd want to be going in. I mean, you're sitting there in a mess. So. So yeah, it was a good win. I am way more excited about yesterday's games. I was just absolutely locked into both of those. Who would you lean toward in the championship game right now? I think the early spread was 4 for Michigan.
I see Michigan's minus 4.5 on where I placed my wagers. I mean, honestly, total flip. I felt like any of those 4 teams could win the championship, so therefore any combination of the two playing is not surprising to me. God. I think Washington, actually, as I'm thinking through it, I think I would go Washington.
And here's why I would agree with you, is Texas pretty much was unanimous that they had one of the better defensive lines in the country, correct?
To stop the run, correct, especially their defensive tackles.
And my goodness, did Penix have all day? I mean, some of those routes were 5-6 second routes, and I mean, he was just dropping dimes, and Michigan's defensive line looked great against Alabama, but I'm thinking if Washington's offensive line is that formidable, and they seem to be, and they can give him time, he is going to carve anybody up. I don't care how good a D-back is.
I think one of the things that may fly under the radar, and I don't know how much coverage it's got, and I know it got a little bit, otherwise I wouldn't be aware of it, but he was hurt. Penix was. I think going back to perhaps the Oregon game, not the conference championship, but the one in Seattle, Husky Stadium. The next week they played Arizona State. It was a late night game. I was at a party, and it was like 12:30, and we were watching that. That's where they really should have lost.
They lucked it out.
Arizona State, which is amazing to say. Arizona State was terrible this year. Arizona, very good. Arizona State, terrible. And from that point forward, he was hurt. And I think the time in between, nearly a month of the second Oregon game and playing Texas last night, I think he was able to get healthier. That game should not have been as close as it wound up being. Doug detailed the time management issues, but also Washington, had control of that thing. And I think their ability to score points is the greatest of the 4 teams in the playoff. And you could probably make a case for 3 of the 4. I don't think anybody would really make a case for Michigan, but people would talk about Michigan's offense. Michigan is without, and hey, to their credit, they were able to move the ball down the field, needing 7 points without a first-round draft pick at guard. Doug, is that Zach Zinter? Is it Zach Zinter?
I don't know.
And so they had to move around their center and their right tackle, and it was something that Alabama theoretically should have taken advantage of, but to Michigan's credit, they were able to drive down the field. I just think that Michigan's defense, while it is outstanding, I think Washington's going to be able to put up points, and I would take Washington in the 4.5.
I think I would as well. If that muffed punt toward the end of the regulation game in that Alabama-Michigan game, if he doesn't recover that...
Oh, God.
Insane, dude.
It goes down in
I know
history.
it's a fan versus a player, but that's Bartman-esque. I mean, that would live on forever.
Oh, that'd be brutal.
Oh, my gosh. And so we were, I'm sure fans were on Luther Burden on Friday night for never catching the punt, but hey, at least you're not turning the ball over, because Washington gave Texas a touchdown from that, too, from a muffed punt.
Yeah.
I mean, those are just huge momentum swings. And then Milroe with that fumble. I mean, Alabama was in full control of that game late in the second half.
Down, it's over.
Yeah.
Despite the Milroe fumble, I thought the quarterback play from all four guys are really good.
Yeah.
All those guys can really play and really
Michael
throw.
Penix had the best deep ball I've seen since like Cardell Jones of Ohio State.
I agree.
It is insane.
Milroe had 116 yards passing. You thought that you were impressed?
Well, but besides him, I mean, he's more of a runner to me than he is a great passer. But
Yeah.
the other guys threw some incredible passes.
Yeah. No,
KJ
that was
McCarthy
some
looked like a god in the fourth quarter. Literally looked like it was insane.
And he missed some throws too. And obviously they got lucky on that first play. I mean, that is just a fluky thing that his heel was out of bounds when he jumped. And that would have been a huge momentum shift as well. They got a fumbled punt there 2 drives later. But that is the best type of football, both games, that I could ask for. The NFL has kind of, I think, been underwhelming this year. College football just on their prime stage last night delivered.
Yeah, college football is just in a spot where it's skyrocketing, and that's why the thing about the bowls, and they suck. I'm just like, I mean, you know where I've been because you and I talk a lot of college football. I'm just like, yeah, bowls, okay, great.
You suck.
Yeah, but this isn't anything new. I guess the Florida State Georgia thing exacerbates it, along with the transfer portal. And the advent of the college football playoff. But I just think it's a topic that will be irrelevant. I think it's already kind of irrelevant, but irrelevant this time next year because you're going to have a 12-team playoff.
I cannot wait.
Oh, my God. I mean, Missouri would have been in Eugene, Oregon 2 Saturdays ago.
Unbelievable. I was nervous as hell with no rooting interest yesterday. How big a stage that is for these players. And I was nervous. I could not imagine if my team was out there. I mean, that would just be euphoria. I cannot wait. I mean, not that I'm guaranteeing that's going to happen for Mizzou, but I think they'll have as good a chance as any. Would you agree this is probably the most hyped up season they've had since probably 2008?
Yes, without question.
Yeah.
Without question.
And 2008 obviously did not deliver. They had their returning quarterback, returning wide receiver, et cetera. Hopefully this works out a little better.
Yeah, Gabe's talked a little bit about that 2008 team, and he said one of the things that was going on with that team, with the expectations, I mean, my God, expectations unlike anything I had seen up until that point, was they really lost some leadership, and not necessarily guys who were the stars, because the stars certainly were Chase Daniel and Macklin in particular, but they really lost some leadership. And when they lost to Oklahoma State the week before the game in Austin, which was supposed to be, and it was a Saturday night ABC game, they lost at home to Oklahoma State, that thing just spiraled. And I mean, it ended with a, quiet little Alamo Bowl game on a Tuesday night.
I honestly don't remember.
Well, it was a great game against Northwestern. So this will be without question, and fortunately, similar to this year, you get the September where, really, barring a big surprise, you are undefeated going into October, and that creates further momentum that you are possibly a top 10 team when you head to College Station for your first real test. And who knows, how good A&M will be. I was talking to James, Doug, during the commercial break, that a podcast that we listen to, it's called That SEC Podcast, Good Entertainment. Your
cousin Shane.
James is a cousin Shane guy.
Oh, are you really?
Hey, baby, what's going on?
Just debuted because I know you track power rankings.
I do,
in Joe Lunardi. He has Georgia as the number 1 team, or that podcast has Georgia as the number 1 team for 2024. Ole Miss 2. How about that? Ole Miss at 2. Roll Tide at 3, and then Missouri at number 4 for the record, rounding it out. Texas, Tennessee, Oklahoma at 7. LSU at 8, and now there's the second half because you have 16 teams in 2024. A&M at 9, a Missouri opponent. Kentucky at 10. Missouri doesn't play Kentucky next year.
All SEC teams, but one.
No, this is the SEC rankings. Just the SEC.
I thought he mixed another one in there.
Florida at 11. Missouri's now playing Florida next year now with the new setup. Auburn, a Missouri opponent at 12. That game's in Columbia. South Carolina, they play them in Columbia, South Carolina. Arkansas, they play them. Mississippi State, they play them. And Vanderbilt, they play them.
They get the bottom quarter.
I mean, holy crap. And when you look at Missouri's SEC opposition of the top 6 teams, and Missouri's one of them, but they only play one of them, Alabama, in Tuscaloosa, which if they were to lose would be excused. Then they play Oklahoma, the 7th team, and then A&M 9, and then everything else is 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 of your SEC opponents.
I think 10-2, you're at least on the bubble, right? If you go 10-2,
their non-conference schedule, if they are, this is my Nostradamus, and listen, I guess I won it, but at the same time, I prefer 11-1, or 12-0 for that matter. But that will be the topic of discussion because Missouri's non-conference schedule is so
it's embarrassing.
bad. But then at the same time, with where things are, I don't know if you really want to risk it. If you're in the SEC, why would you be scheduling?
No, as a fan.
This schedule, and like the UMass game, which certainly gets a lot
Boston
of attention,
College.
and Boston College, these were all done well before Texas and Oklahoma were going into the SEC. So either way, what James and I were talking about during the break, Doug, and before you got back in here, is this sets up for anticipation and people wanting to go down to Columbia for college football games. And it's always been what I, as a Missouri fan, have wanted, which is it adds another sport to the St. Louis area sports calendar. It's not just back in the day, Rams, Cardinals, and Blues. Now you have Missouri added to the mix. You got to sustain this. If you can get to a playoff game and host that game in December in Columbia, Missouri, against take your pick of whomever, holy crap. And by the way, taking kind of a macro, this is what I was thinking as I was watching that game, and I live bet Missouri and I won, and that's great, but it wasn't like it was some life-changing money. It just was, you could, from my standpoint, you could see what Ohio State was on Friday night in the early going offensively. But with that all said, think about watching that game. You were there, Jackson. I know you're emotionally invested. Imagine if that's a 3-0 game and the winner of it advances to the Final Four, and how different many people, now some people may have been as emotionally invested as can be, but if that would have been a game where you're going, oh my God, we're going to the fourth quarter, Missouri's down 3-0, they're playing against a shell of Ohio State, considering what they were offensively, and they're going to lose this game and not go to the Final Four and miss this great opportunity, as opposed to, if they lose, they lose.
It'd be night and day in terms of intensity.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
No
Because
doubt.
think back to how you felt probably watching Georgia more than LSU, and the intensity of that.
Yep.
Because you were playing for, still in your mind, my mind too, a championship.
Yep, and it's later in the season. It was the first week in November.
Right.
When's the last time a local team that had high expectations going in delivered? Would it be the Rams in 2001?
I think, I think in a way, but it's got such an asterisk next to it. The 2019-2020 St. Louis Blues
True. It's just not in
were
December.
a great team.
Yeah.
It's just the season got wiped out. I don't know, Doug. I feel like there were big time expectations for the 2014 Cardinals because they had the Waka-Wainwright combination. I remember thinking that and being at that spring training, and sometimes those pictures will pop up in my iPhone memories, and I remember going, God, Waka and Wainwright together, and a team that had just won the National League pennant. And I guess the season was good. I mean, they did go to the NLCS, but it didn't feel like it was great.
But I'm thinking of the championship teams, the 19 Blues, maybe some expectations, but not, cup or bust. The 06 Cardinals, 11 Cardinals kind of snuck in there. And so usually these high expectation teams haven't delivered. I mean, the Rams, after they won the Super Bowl, did they get bounced in the first round against New Orleans the next year?
That was the Azakim punt fumble.
Yes, that's right. And then they rebounded the following year and lost the Super Bowl, but... these high expectations, I think we were talking about this as well. Mizzou certainly could be in for a letdown, too, when so many people are expecting CFP or bust.
And I agree with that. However, we both, I know, share this opinion. This is part of the necessary step of becoming a great program is, okay, you go from, holy crap, 8 wins would be great, to you win 11, including a win over Ohio State. But you now have expectations. And part of the expectations are similar to the reason why I was high on betting the over is that the schedule lines up.
Yeah.
Like Georgia may be the best team in the SEC next year again, but they have, I think, the toughest schedule in the SEC next year if you were to take a look at these schedules. Ole Miss, part of their expectations, certainly the team's caliber this year, Jackson Dart's coming back, their quarterback, and their success in the portal and the recruiting class, but their schedule's incredibly favorable. And so much of a college football team's performance is based on kind of the luck of the draw when it comes to these schedules. And Missouri and Ole Miss both have very favorable schedules, which is weird to say in a year where you're going to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But, if it were the old format, boy, you go, my God, they can't afford to lose that game. Well, with the new format, you can lose a game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can lose 2. You probably can. With the non-conference schedule they have, I'd be very surprised if they could lose 3 and get in. So,
no, yeah, I'd be shocked. I mean, if you lose 2, if one of the wins of the 10 is pretty substantial, like a Bama, who else would be? Oklahoma at home. I mean, that would be a big win. At least, sitting here on January 2nd, it looks like a big win. At A&M, maybe. I don't know. But they're losing a lot with a new coach. I mean, Mizzou might be favored in that game going down there.
Even if they don't get in the playoffs, if they just get into any bowl, it's still important to people like bowl executive Brian Henson.
Yeah, you're right about that.
He's got the pastel sport coat now. He may as well wear it.
You are right about that.
Yeah, so it's not CFP or bust. You're right. Well, it's been a heck of a season for Mizzou, for college football in general.
Amen.
I'll be locked in next Monday night, and I can't wait to see September kickoff next year already. I'm already looking forward to it.
You better book your hotel rooms now.
I did get one for the Oklahoma game in Columbia.
Oh, yeah. I got houses in Tuscaloosa and
You did
Columbia.
get Tuscaloosa?
Yeah. Well, Birmingham.
Because I looked an hour after the schedule released, and there was nothing even remote.
I had one booked. This was nuts.
Without the date?
But this is what happened. No, I immediately booked it.
Okay.
Was it an event where I was in a spot where I could kill some time? And I'm just like, I'm gonna book these because the schedule came out, and book the house for 10, 12 people because I know go down there with a bunch of people, and then the owners of the house contacted me and said the house is no longer available for these dates. And so help me, considering it's Tuscaloosa, I think there is a good chance they saw that I'm coming from St. Louis.
Probably so.
And said we're not gonna have a Missouri fan here.
So wait, you do have a place or you don't now?
I'll just go to Birmingham. But I have one for Columbia on November 9th.
And what
Oklahoma?
Yes. And what is that, an
Birmingham
hour drive?
is like 45 minutes to an hour. I'm sure it'll be longer with Tuscaloosa traffic that day.
Okay. Wow.
So I need to have some person who doesn't drink, handle.
2014, we rented an RV from one of your former sponsors, Byerly.
Oh, yeah, Rosinante, probably, Doug.
You rented Rosinante?
We rented Rosinante.
Alabama?
Had a permanent driver, went to Gainesville for that game, and I don't know if I want to do that again. That was a different stage of my life, but that was a blast. That was one heck of a way to travel to a football game and just get after it. But
it's a little far.
It was cool.
It's a drive.
But to have a driver is a big deal.
Oh, sure.
It's a big, big deal.
Yeah, and food right there and a bathroom right there.
It's not bad, but 7 guys on an RV, you can imagine the smells on the way back.
Oh,
we didn't realize how to unload the black water tank or whatever they call it. Plowsy could teach me all this
black,
stuff.
gray, and white water.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Watch out for that, James.
But I'm going to be eyeballing that because Tuscaloosa, it's kind of like Lambeau, like where Plowsy's going this week. And I've never
It's
been.
the last chance Missouri will go there to see Nick Saban coach. That would be my.
And honestly, I think has a chance to win. I'm not calling a win, but I think Mizzou should be able to compete with anybody next year. And
I don't think Oklahoma is. On paper right now, I think Missouri beats Oklahoma. I don't know about the transfer portal.
Yeah, nobody knows anything.
I don't see Mizzou losing another game in the next 10 years.
Stop.
Oh my God, really?
I'm a Mizzou basher, but I don't think Oklahoma is as big of a hurdle right now because you have so many unknowns with that roster. They lost their best offensive lineman to Missouri, by the way.
Yes.
They lost their quarterback. I just don't know. They can obviously, they're blue blood. I'm sure they retool a 5-star.
Barry Switzer can still coach them up.
I see Alabama being the hiccup. You just never know with that team. They're losing a lot on defense.
Oh, for sure. And based on Twitter, Oklahoma is Mizzou's biggest rival right now.
I don't get that. I know they're force-feeding it. It's fun to take some of their players. I don't see the rivalry there. I barely understand the Arkansas one.
Remember when Barry Switzer was on this show and he called Johnny Manziel a name?
Before mine. Arrogant little. I think we may.
Arrogant little prick? Is that what it was?
I think that's what he called him on this show.
How about that? You guys had those YouTube clips back then.
The arrogant little prick.
Yeah, there it was. Barry Switz. Not before me, though. That was one of the good drops. So
Yeah.
when I started.
James, wonderful to see you. Happy New Year to you and yours.
Happy New
And thank
Year.
you for your
Congrats
continued
again, Plowsy.
support of the
Thank you.
program. There he is, the great James
thanks,
Carlton.
James.
He's my insurance agent, is what he is, Doug.
He seems like he's everybody's insurance. He should be everybody's insurance.
Yeah, now that
I don't know if he can handle that workload, but
I think he could.
if anybody could, he could.
I really, I think he could. Jackson, what's the good word back there?
Jackson.
Yo.
Yeah, I got
Jack.
All's good back here.
Okay.
Hanging out.
Well, what's
doing
the
my thing.
word?
The word?
Yeah.
You know, new year, same TMA, baby, bringing the heat.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think we've already determined that Ed Herman is the listener of the year, presented to you by
True.
Milagro Tequila.
Sucks for anyone trying to compete.
Yeah, I mean, it's already been determined in the first segment.
For real. Yeah, he's outstanding.
Are you excited about Balloon Party's return?
Yeah, good to be
I
back.
guess you came in, though, and did it last week.
Thursday and Friday.
He loves the show so much.
God, you couldn't
He
catch
did?
me.
You came in Thursday and Friday?
Thursday and Friday, I did the show on 101 ESPN, 10 to 11, with Matt Rocchio, Marshy Marsh and the Playful Posse. Good morning, Grant Francis.
Good morning, Grant.
Bradford Bruns, who does a lot of work.
Oh, I
with
love
101.
BB.
Yeah, he's good people. So it was really fun. Talked it over, broke it all down. And coming in for 1 hour, didn't really, I wasn't like, oh no, my vacation's ruined. I came in for an hour, and I'd have to come in early anyways.
It would have ruined mine.
Rocchio busy during the Christmas season playing tuba concerts?
Yeah, assuming he was going like on a little tour.
Yeah, I could see that.
Little tuba tour around the Midwest.
Yeah, getting a lot of work out of that embouchure. So, yeah, came in and did that, but...
How was the audience? Were they happy to have you in there?
That's a tough
Because
question.
you were in on Thursday. That was following the Blues' victory over the Dallas Stars that Wednesday, so I'm sure you gave your...
That's right. Marco
Gave your thoughts.
Scandella.
Marco Scandella, yeah. It was right in front of where we were sitting for his kind of like, bring it on, Doug, is what he
Really?
said after he scored that goal. Yeah.
That
They were
Jake
like,
Neighbors.
who are you again?
With a pair of mitts.
Saucy mitts.
Yeah.
This guy.
I guess Snuggaroo had a good thing in the World Juniors. He
What
was
happened
playing
to
well.
him?
He is silent.
He had a hat trick in the first period.
Yeah. Most
He's
adorable
awesome.
name in hockey, Jimmy Snuggaroo.
Yeah. Is he with Michigan or who's?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So we talked about all of those topics, and I, of course, was locked in. And then, so it was fun doing that. I think the audience appreciated the change of pace a little bit. Younger
Oh, it's
guys.
a shot at me. It's a shot at me. Oh, and then even younger guys, too. What, now I'm too old to host the show?
He's an ageist.
Eliminates
Yeah.
the old guy, though,
Yeah.
listening, which probably helps.
I didn't mean it as a shot if it came across that way. That's
It did.
Yeah.
Call
God,
Brown
I've
and
never
Crouppen
been.
again. See,
Yeah, go see if Ed's available.
yeah. Just can't shame people by their age.
Yeah.
Well,
More
I
offended.
apologize.
What do you think it's going to be like today?
Oh, wow. We're going to talk a lot of college football, so probably will be a thorn in some people's side. But I
The
think
Blues don't play again until Thursday.
Yeah, well, we've seen the story's been written before, and it's come with a similar outcome. People not happy with what we're talking about.
Battlehawks are back.
Yes.
I'm more confused now with what they're doing than I ever have been
Now it's
with
the
minor
US
league football in my life.
U.S. Football League.
It's
They're
in
in
the
the US
league, now they're in the XFL division. What
yeah.
the hell is going on?
Hey, come on. At least we got a team of some
That's
sort.
true, that is true.
Doug, that Las Vegas franchise that played at a neighborhood park, they've met their maker.
Yeah,
They're not
fold.
going to get to stick around.
They got plenty going on in Las Vegas. They did not need that. We need this. We certainly got a thirst for it among the fan base.
Man, when you're a city that's in need of XFL, you are smooth.
We had to
sailing.
be one of the first franchises where they said, well, St. Louis is in. Wouldn't you think? I mean, nobody draws like we do here for those games.
Got to be proud of that.
I don't imagine the TV market is very appealing to national advertisers, but it's appealing to the league when you can draw 30 to 40,000 people a game, and some of the others are drawing a couple thousand.
Do they have a network?
We did it.
I don't know that they've worked that out
Yeah,
yet.
Liv is on the CW. What are they on, like the Bingo Network?
Okay.
Yeah, the Arizona Bulls going that same route. They went from streaming to CW. Big investment for Barstool.
Nice, got that shot in. So that one was hard. That's a hard bowl to watch.
Well, was it?
It starts in March. We're 2 months away from the kickoff of that season.
I was telling Iggy, I saw a Masters commercial on December 30th of 2023.
I did. I saw that too.
For a tournament in April of 24.
A tradition.
Pretty blown
like
away
no
by
other.
that. That's the earliest I've seen it.
PJ starts this week. Good field in the
does.
Century.
Yeah.
When do we start our DraftKings?
Doug?
Well, I don't know.
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm sure Jackson's just ready to get back to cutting names.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cutting names.
He's excited about that. There has to be a better way to do that.
We did the better way at the wheel, the randomized wheel, or
Right, or just let me wildly guess numbers.
well, you
of
can
players on
put them
list.
into a spreadsheet and then guess a number.
Yeah.
That's what we did as well.
Maybe Jamie has a different idea for this year. Maybe you actually pick your team. Don't pick out of a box.
I don't know. I
You
love
just
the-
lose money every week.
No,
Morning,
I
guys.
don't.
We are now Omaha. It's dark times around here. That's from the Hunchback of Vaughan Castle with his State of the Union on St. Louis.
I'll be honest, that is kind of dragging Omaha.
But you
under
know
the
what?
bus. And they
Omaha's
didn't do
kind of
anything
nice.
wrong. Yeah, I'm gonna say
Downtown Omaha is really kind of nice.
Yeah, their downtown's better than ours.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is. At least it's more walker friendly. It's
Haven't
more
been there in a while.
people friendly.
They didn't get an XFL team, though, right?
They did not.
Okay.
Can you imagine?
Mm-mm.
Back
They
when I
get
was
the
going
Olympic
there.
swimming trials every 4
Back
years.
when I was going there, it was a quaint little town.
Yeah, it's not a bad place.
Hey, Plow Take. They have TV contracts with ESPN, Fox, and ABC. Get it straight. It's from Mr. Bojangles.
Well, I already forgot what I'm talking about. What do we talk about?
USFL.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know the structure. I was just kind of
I
trying to
believe
be
it's
funny.
UFL for the record.
Is it?
Oh, UFL.
United, but USFL is one of the divisions. It's one of the conferences. There's the USFL, and then there's the XFL conferences, all part of the US.
Now that we're talking
all part
about
of the UFL.
I'm kind of getting into it now.
Are you?
I thought it was the USFL. Now it's the UFL.
I don't think we have any players.
Guys, I was in Chattanooga last week, and if we can get to that level, it'll be a massive success at some Tervis Parish. The old Chattanooga Choo-Choo.
I think what we're becoming is more like a Memphis.
Toledo. When I was in Milwaukee, they've done laps around us.
Yeah.
Milwaukee is, I thought, would be more comparable than what it actually was.
Well,
It
have you
is
seen like
tremendous.
Denver and Seattle and
Yeah,
some of these
that's
cities that are
uncomparable.
closer to our size? They just have left us in the dust.
Denver, every year I'm there is a brand new complex that just built completely up to the ground, 30 floors every year. Every single year there's 15 cranes in downtown Denver.
I think we're closer to Detroit.
I think downtown Detroit's better. They've done a lot.
They've had
to
a
that.
renaissance in
They've
Detroit.
done a lot to that city.
We haven't had ours yet. It's coming. It's coming.
Longo Biggs is coming as well, and here we go. It's Doug Biggs and CD Longo at Longo Biggs Injury Law. Just go online at longobiggs.com. For nearly 10 years. Doug Biggs and CD Longo have been recognized as the top 40 under 40 personal injury lawyers by Super Lawyers, the National Academy of Personal Injury Attorneys, and the National Trial Lawyers Association. In a personal injury case, there can be a substantial amount of money on the line, and these guys know how to get you every last dollar possible. It's Doug and CD. They're local, friendly, professional, and most importantly, excellent personal injury lawyers. They are listeners of the program as well. Go online at longobiggs.com. That's LONGOBIGGS.com. If any of my family or friends are ever injured in an accident, I want them to call Doug Biggs and CD Longo at Longo Biggs Injury Law. Remember, the choice of a lawyer is an important decision. It should not be based on an advertisement. That is Longo Biggs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the very first Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day for 2024. E equals MC squared. Whippy dippy do, because anybody that listened to today's show would out Tim's intelligence against Einstein's in a heartbeat.
I'm done.
Is that a lemming play?
We should eliminate the email.
I just don't know what would out Tim's intelligence against Einstein.
Put. You meant to say put.
These people.
But this email is about used to breeze.
I gotta say, who inked it? This is a cry for help.
But this email is about used to breeze. Because I used to be the hottest engaged guy on the fan page. Optometrist?
This is an optometrist?
Happy for the Plowboy, but damn it, that status used to get me laid all the time. And it used to be, I thought I knew the sink regurgitation story. But the last revealed another man in that bed. And it doesn't take too much reading between the lines to realize there's 87% chance that swords were crossed. And that's a visual I couldn't get out of my head over the holidays. That's from E, and then the middle name is Norm, and then the last name, Doug, is Iswang.
E. Norm is Wong.
That hurt.
Asian.
That hurt. Everything to try to filter out.
Write better. Come on. Proofread it one time. Before you hit send, proofread the darn thing.
Words hurt, especially when those words come from a man you intend on sleeping with. So when Doug called my first email of the day submission, quote, 8 stupid words, it hurt. But guess what? We just got a little thing called dial-up internet here in Pinckneyville, Illinois. Pack yourself a lunch, sweet cheeks, because I'm going to be around for a while. Unfasten his khakis. I'm impressed by his size. Nuzzle in head first. My ears are encapsulated by his thighs. I take it all in. He gyrates with zest. I return the favor, spitting his nectar on his chest.
Oh.
That's from Potty Mouth.
I didn't care for it.
Ew.
Potty Mouth.
Ratchet them up a little bit, 2024.
Yeah, get better than
I
that.
thought it was going to get better. They got so much worse.
I don't care if he's where was he? Jerseyville, did he say?
Pinckneyville.
Pinckneyville. Okay.
We made it through the holidays, and now it's back to reality. Thanks to Plowsy, the TMA skeleton was fire. But it was nice being able to see you guys live on YouTube again today. I forgot how much I enjoyed watching Iggy fall asleep while Tim's talking like he did at least 3 separate times this morning.
You doze off?
That's not true.
I think old Whistlebeak needs to hit the Vera Wang comforter a little earlier tonight. I need to air my own grievances, though. For me, the worst part of the holidays isn't my nephew's coughing on the communal platters of food or pretending to be excited about a sleeve of top-flight golf balls from my mother-in-law. The worst part is hearing how my brother-in-law almost won $600 in his fantasy football league. If Raheem Mostert could have caught 2 more passes, if Greg Zuerlein would have missed the last-second kick, oh, you had the Bengals defense. No one cares!
Oh. Yeah.
Well, why are you telling us about it?
I don't watch the NFL. They stole my team, and I've never forgiven them for it. I'd rather have an FUE procedure on my B-hole every single day than listen to my wife's brother whine about Kansas City receivers dropping passes. Listen, Nick, your kids clearly have the flu. Go get them a Kleenex and let me enjoy my ham in peace. Tired of it. It's from the JV golf coach. P.S. Congrats on the engagement, Plowsy. I used to think you weren't smart, but marrying into a family from Morrison Woods proves me wrong.
Yes, sir.
I see you, big boy. Doug, JV golf coach.
JV golf coach.
Wasn't the reason why, but I do appreciate it.
Sadie Hawkins, Doug. Plowsy got engaged in Morrison Woods, but they celebrated at Bartolino South, and we're not for sure if Jackie Smith was there. Iggy wants to know if he pays $20 at the Dollar Dance if he can get some boob. Mizzou defeated Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. Jackson bought his girlfriend a piece of artwork from Stranger Things and immediately regretted his decision to share this detail. Ed Herman doesn't mind sharing that his aunt kisses him on the lips, but I think the lead is Ed Herman cross-examining Iggy over his cucking his mean lesbian uncle 40 years ago. Ours is the type of presentation where the sponsors feel free to pop in at any time to counsel newly engaged couples on nipple hair grooming and take a deep dive on Iggy's sexual history. Let's review what we learned. You have to be physically attracted to your prospective spouse with an 85% overlap in your core values and a 75% overlap in lifestyle preferences. If she's not into anal, you can go do that with your friends.
Oh.
I don't remember him saying that.
No, he left that out.
As long as you align on most other stuff like TV shows and vacations. We also learned there is no such thing as a step-aunt, that Iggy had no moral qualms cucking his uncle because the uncle was already cheating on the aunt, and that Iggy's aunt made the first move by grabbing his leg. Most importantly, we learned that Ed Herman needs to cross-examine Iggy about a different sexual conquest every week. Happy New Year. It's my birthday in 9 days. That's from Buck Swope.
Buck Swope with a nice little email
And
this AM.
That's what we have for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day.
Well, we had a couple of guys who don't usually email in. I'm going to go with Buck Swope. I thought his was the best email. Buck Swope. S-W-O-P.
You guys have got to ratchet it up for the new year.
Well, don't scold them. They're just
Kevin
trying to
Miller, come up with
participate.
some new material. It's like Tim is the best. But this email's about Doug's butt.
Oh.
I mean, I got to go with Swope.
Buck Swope.
Yeah.
Doug, could he win every email of the day presented by Design
He
Air?
writes in every day.
He should have
Every
won.
day.
Yeah, Kevin
Every
Miller?
day.
Couldn't even
Like 3 different
understand the
directions. I
first
thought it was
one.
2 different emails.
No, that was different. That was Enormous Wang.
Oh.
Close to Vera Wang.
That's correct. Zach's wife Gummy says they were all bad. All bad. Zach's wife Gummy.
Buck Swope was bad.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I mean, Ed can question me every week if he wants some of my sexual conquest. Get kind of boring, but
Do you appreciate the counsel that he gives you?
Good counsel.
yeah, it was a smart segment. I mean, the 3 pillars or 3 prongs.
I should have played the 4-pill and drop.
Yeah, I wanted to
He's
ask-
on to some things. I'm really intrigued by his stuff.
I wanted
really
to ask
am.
him if you know, one of the prongs, like, You have to be attracted to her. What happens 20 years down the road where he puts on 30 pounds, she puts on 30 pounds, you're not sexually, you're not attracted to him anymore? I mean, that's the marriage then. It's done.
Well,
Correct?
could be.
Yeah.
Happens a lot.
I think that's why people are starting to use a strap-on more.
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Tim's right.
Thank you, Jackson. That kind of ability to tell me I'm right is huge because Balloon Party is coming up next. And what is the segment that you called, Iggy? New Year's Nuggets?
New Year's Nuggets.
New Year's Nuggets.
We're going to break down what happened over the weekend. Boy, that's original.
With a little spice.
That's coming your way next on 101 ESPN. Hop into the YouTube chat because I know they're not going to be happy and they're going to complain that I have too much vacation. That's what's going to happen in the 101 ESPN text inbox. That's coming your way next. Time for us to shut it down. For the Plow, for Action Jackson, for Kenneth Iggy Strode, for my brother Kevin, for Douglas Sullivan Vaughn. I'm Tim McKernan. This has been The Morning After, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen.
Urban Dictionary defines thirsty